I said, works for me.
They're sensational. My mom went through all her bladder stuff there. I have nothing but high praise for Moffitt.
And I know the Grants have used them.
Yeah. That's why they're back where they are. I mean, they went all.
Yeah.
They have the means to go. They had the means to go anywhere in the country, and chose to go to Tampa. So,
well, tell her I'm thinking about her.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, Paul, and hello again, everybody.
Trevor Immelman sucks.
Hey.
That was my tweet. Yes, it's the first.
I saw it.
Sent out. Just very. You know why I did it though? Nance is going nuts about the money. Nance is talking about all the money, and they got the money graphic up there. And Immelman says with a straight face, "But yeah, getting your name on that trophy is really important." After a week in which they all said the format for this is complete horse crap. No, they care about the $18 million, you jackass.
Well, they're playing also because they're obligated to.
Right. This, he's so bad. And I can't figure out which one's he and which one's Ian Baker Fitch half the time because their voices are.
Well, I can tell the difference between them. The two that people constantly are getting confused is Cole Nost and Immelman.
Okay, that's who it is then.
I don't.
But they said I watched a lot of golf this weekend because there wasn't much else on. David, they didn't talk Ryder Cup.
I know.
How do you have the Tour Championship with everything on the line for the Ryder Cup captain's picks and you don't mention it?
Well, especially yesterday. I mean, Keegan Bradley shooting 73, Morikawa shooting 73, 72 on the weekend. I mean, and he has not played well since he blew the 5-shot lead in Hawaii. I mean, he hasn't. So I'm with you. By the way, could Jon Rahm, if he wasn't in contention in that tournament, he had no interest being there. I loved it. I loved his body language.
They put them on the clock, and the other thing, even my wife and mother.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How was your final weekend of August? What do you say we head into September by the end of the week? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. You know, some feel the magic numbers have already come and gone, but if not, if this weekend didn't do it for you, the numbers are down to 3-10. 3-10. Mark, top of the morning to you. How was your weekend?
It was terrific, David. Good morning. How about yourself?
It was okay. It was. We're packing up. We're doing some home renovations, and so we're packing up, and we're going to spend 4, 5, 6 weeks in an Airbnb, and so we got to empty the place and get it ready. Movers are coming, move everything into storage, and then take, basically our clothes, I guess, and go to the Airbnb, and then eventually come back, and then and then have all the stuff get moved back, and then have to put it back. Moving is fantastic, especially since I did it less than a year ago. And so to do it again is awesome.
Well, in moving when you're as old as we are sucks. When you're younger and you move so much in your 20s. It seems that you move damn near every year in your 20s. New apartment, new house,
right.
You're renting, and then maybe by the end of your 20s, you've bought your first place.
And you still have friends, all right, as opposed to, my age now, I have none. And your friends are still near you because you haven't really spread out yet. And so moving's the thing. Like, hey, in a couple Saturdays, I'm moving. And you all decide, well, then that's a good reason to get together.
Right. We'll get some pizza. We'll get some beer. I'll pay for some food for you. I'll get you drunk. And you can crash my couch into a couple corners of the house. And we can put some scratches in my new place right away.
Yes, it's fantastic. Okay, what do you say? 8 o'clock Saturday? Right.
But when you get older, you got more stuff. You don't want your friends scratching the wall if you have friends, not like David and I do. And then you have to pay moving companies to do it for you. So they show up drunk and bang the stuff into the couches in the corners for you.
Well, I hope not, but if so, to be honest with you, as long as they move the stuff, I don't really care. I mean, I don't think so, but that's okay if it is. So yeah, so I mean, so it's okay, and the hope, the hope is, if we could cross our fingers, we have not had a lot of good luck in recent years, in Florida, but kind of hoping maybe we could call in some chips and avoid this stupid hurricane, but you know, right now not looking so good. So I don't know. It's these damn hurricanes with an I.
I know.
That's
I'm aware, and
right.
literally because there's a bunch of storms, and my wife said, "What's the name of this one?" And I said it, and she just looked
Uh
at me and went, "Oh
huh.
no."
This is the damn letter that we just you know, can't avoid in recent years. So, boy. All right. Miller and Moulton. Hope you had a good weekend. It is and was the final one of August. 5 weeks left in the baseball season. 5 weeks left. And there was football on television over the weekend, some that counted in the standings and a whole lot that didn't. By the way, I have to own up to something. Now, there was a method to the madness, but still, I have to own up to something. I watched 45 minutes of preseason football on Saturday.
What?
I know.
45 minutes is a lot of time for you. I get a series or two. I get maybe wanting to check something out. Why did you watch for that long?
Well, and in fact, Mark, because I was watching and then I was drawn away and then I was watching, if we did total time, it may have added up to close to an hour.
No.
I know. I know.
Say it ain't so.
It was the damn Dolphins Jags game. It was just at the right time or wrong time. There it was. What was it, like 6 o'clock or something like that? There it was.
If you say so.
I know.
I don't even know what day they played, David, to tell you how little I was interested in preseason football, because there was actually real football on this weekend. Games that mattered, even though they were bad, games that mattered.
Saturday night. And it was, where I am now in Jacksonville. It was here. I could almost hear the roar. I mean, the thing was damn near sold out. I mean, they got the fever. And I had work yesterday, and I kind of so I watched a little bit just so that I could have a point of reference if something happened to talk about it.
And something did happen. Another
Yep.
late canceled game that
Now, I wasn't watching in the second half. I didn't see
Okay.
it.
Well,
I
thank
just
you.
heard
I
about
mean,
it. No. Take it easy now. I know I violated my own golden rule, and I deserve all of the punishment that you want to hand my way. All the shaming, whatever you want to do, I'm fine with.
no, there's no shaming. The first step to any problem, David, is admitting you have one. And this 4-hour counseling session that we have called Miller and Moulton is where you can get some of those things out.
I didn't think I had a problem. I didn't realize I had a problem, but I fell off the preseason football wagon on Saturday. I had not watched for years, and Tua and Trevor. Tua and Trevor. They lured me in, kind of like Jack and Coke. They just lured me in. Yep. And not only that, it was late in Jacksonville's second possession with their first string, in which I said out loud to no one in particular, "Wow, the Jags look good." And then I literally slapped myself on the right side of my face, like, snap out of it. This doesn't count.
Yeah, that base defense is just right there. They should be able to move it up and down the field. But good for you. Way to jump in. I've got no problem with it.
I do. I'm ashamed. I am. And so, I punished myself by eating and drinking for the last 36 hours because, that's what I do.
You also do that when you celebrate things.
That is true. Come to think of it, that's a 24/7, 365 thing. So I don't know if I did anything out of the ordinary, but I did. I watched 45 minutes to an hour of the Jags and the Dolphins.
I don't even know if I watched that much of Notre Dame and Navy.
This just in, Sam Hartman's going to make a difference with Notre Dame, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Imagine that. We might as well talk about these guys as if they were pros. Best free agent quarterback available, right?
No doubt. When you think if the NFL had the opportunity to get free agent quarterbacks the way college football does.
I mean, is this the Saints picking up Carr? Is this
Yeah.
the Raiders with Garoppolo? What do we equate Hartman to Notre Dame to?
I think it's better. It's not Rodgers, don't get me wrong, but I think it's better than Carr or Garoppolo.
You do, huh? Okay. So it's not Rodgers to the Jets, but it's better than Carr to the Saints.
Yes.
Wow. I got to think of because that move didn't happen this offseason. So I'm trying to think of the recent move in which that was the case. Obviously, it wasn't Brady to the Bucks. So
Stafford to the Rams.
Ooh, look at you.
That's the
look at you. Winner, chicken dinner right there. Nice. And what happened the first year that Matthew Stafford went to the Rams?
And Notre Dame has who on their schedule this year? Ohio State at home. USC at home.
There you go. Phil Steele's sleeper playoff team. Notre Dame outside the top 10. He had them ranked 10th, by the way. But they officially started the year outside the top 10, and Phil Steele thinks they are going to be in the playoff. This just in, USC doesn't play defense. At some point, that should come back and bite you. I'm just saying.
They'll be fun.
They will be fun.
Really entertaining.
Yes, they will, which really, that is a big part of the equation out in Los Angeles. Style points are important out in Los Angeles. College hoops, NBA, football. Yeah, you can't win 17-13 out there. Can't have an NBA team that wins 100-94. They're not interested in that. Let's go. Let's go up and down the floor. Showtime and all. Right. So, yes, they will be fun. A lot of 49-28 type games against bad teams, never mind the good ones. So,
but we're off in college football. USC and Notre Dame, both with convincing wins. Notre Dame looked very good against Navy. They were expected to.
How about Hawaii with the late cover? I mean, let's pay attention to the important stuff. Notre Dame scores late first half to cover the first half. Hawaii, 2 late scores to make sure they cover against Vandy. I mean, come on, let's get to the important stuff.
Did you watch any of Vandy, Hawaii?
Did not watch a second.
I didn't either, but I was reading about it the next day. Do you know that the scoreboard was held up by cranes?
Remember, we were talking about.
I know. That's why I. What a mess.
Yes, the pictures. I'm talking about moving. Getting ready to move into an Airbnb while we do some work on the condo. Our condo right now, I have a feeling our condo midway through the renovations is going to look better than the current Vanderbilt football stadium.
And they're in the SEC.
Right. That's okay. Nobody goes to their games unless they're playing Georgia and Alabama, at which point Georgia and Alabama fans show up. In fact, they buy season tickets so they can get good seats. And we tried to tell them, it's not that big a stadium. You just, no, it's fine. Besides, they're so cheap. We thought we were just buying one game. Next thing you know, we got 6. So college football underway. NFL cuts are already being made. Cut down day and time is tomorrow at 4. And by then, we'll have a Ryder Cup team announced for the U.S., get a Solheim Cup team announced later today. We got stuff going on, Mark. 5 weeks left in the baseball season, and Felipe's Marlins 500 bet is hanging perilously.
Big win last night for the Marlins, or yesterday, I should say, for the Marlins, as they had a nice 2-1 win with the bullpen day. But yes, that put them a game over 500 as they have been reeling. Well, they're 3 back in the wild card right now. The Rays had a nice weekend taking 2 or 3 of the Yanks. So baseball seemed a little bit of breaks in baseball over the weekend.
Little separation. We got some movement. We do. And we will get into that and a lot more. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So, to continue, how they spend the entire 4-hour broadcast yesterday, and I don't think they mentioned the Ryder Cup. Also is where you don't have an American in the... You got Immelman there who doesn't care about the Ryder Cup.
Well, he should care passionately about the Ryder Cup. He just cares for the other team, but still, which you could actually use,
He's from South Africa.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Yeah, so he doesn't care. So you've
No.
got someone in the booth who doesn't care about... He sucks.
The other thing that they should have talked about is, should Rory have withdrawn? I mean, hey, you got the Ryder Cup in a month, man. Can't mess that up. I mean, how hurt are you? You said you're altering your swing. You can take it back, but you can't bring it down the way you normally do. Okay, should you be playing?
After he hit the drive on 18, it's tough to think there was a lot wrong with his back.
Well, I know that, but I mean, so which is it?
Right.
Right. Here's the other thing. That course is boring. Name me a signature hole. Also, they hit the ball so damn far. I mean, a 560-yard par 5's driver 5-iron? I mean, come on.
David, they hit 5 irons.
230.
230. They're hitting I hit my irons longer than most people. I can hit a 5-iron 200 yards. It's my 190 to 200 club. 240 yards?
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But also, I don't know. I found the course boring. Yeah. See, to me, I would have been pushing yesterday. I would have been pushing the Keegan Bradley Morikawa
I'm
and
right there
go,
with you.
okay,
They didn't. Oh, it's
put
just,
yourself in so and so's shoes. Look at them. Here they are. Here they are. They're both in the top 10 of the season-long Tour Championship. The one guy's in the top 10 of the points. Bradley's 11th. And yet, they both know they're playing the weekend to try to impress the Ryder Cup captain, and they're both sucking.
and like Lucas Glover finished T18. Nothing impressive. They never showed him yesterday. After what he did coming through, to not put him on camera and mention, does he still have a shot at the Ryder Cup, or did he play himself out this weekend? There were storylines for that tournament. When you got one guy, and fortunately, Schauffele makes a couple shots to make it where there's a chance coming in on the back nine. He got it to 3 there, but holy crap.
And nearly 2.
Yes. Yeah, but Hovland rolls in that power putt there, which was
right. Monster.
God, I love the Rays.
I love
Yankees
the
are 600 and they're emptying the bench and say, you're done throwing at us. We don't like you.
I love what the Rays had to say afterwards. Talk about that now.
Did you get some serious work this weekend?
Out of nowhere, Friday and Sunday. Sunday show's the first show in over 2 years that I did with someone not named Pat Kerwin.
Who'd you do it with?
Brad Hopkins
On
in NFL.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Bill Leckus didn't get back from getting his kid to college.
So they made the call.
And believe me, if they're calling me,
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Final Monday of August. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 5 weeks left in the baseball season. Although for some, the baseball season's already over, as in the Yankees. And boy, did the Rays make sure to verbally let everyone know that the Yankees suck, and we're not going to waste our time talking about them. Wow. Good for the Rays. And I say good for the Rays because the Rays and the Yankees played 13 times this year. And the Rays dominated the season series, and they won 2 out of 3 over the weekend in St. Pete. But, Mark, did you notice the difference in the hit-by-pitch total between the Rays and the Yankees this year?
Oh, yeah.
How many times were Rays batters hit by Yankee pitchers?
And I don't have the total numbers, but it was a lot.
It was 12.
Right.
How many times were Yankee batters hit by Rays pitchers?
2.
12-2. Yesterday alone, the ratio was 4-1. Correct. And by the 4th batter that was hit, the Rays had lost their sense of humor. Even though they were pretty sure it wasn't intentional, it's kind of like, come on already. You're a major league pitcher. You're missing your target by a yard. A yard. And so the benches emptied a couple times. Got to admit, I don't know what the Yankees pitcher's doing talking. Shut up, dude. You hit him. Okay? You can't understand why a Rosarena, who didn't charge at you, by the way.
No, he went to
yell
slam
at
his
you.
bat down. And
And he was just like, come on, guys.
enough already.
Yeah. You got to do better than this. And so then a Rosarena gets back at him the only way that he can. He steals second. He steals third. And the Yankee pitcher's yelling at him? So after the game, the Rays and Yankees were both asked, hey, what are, your thoughts on? And the Yankees, for the most part, were like, well, I understand why they're frustrated. Although the one Yankee pitcher who hit a guy said, listen, if they want, they can come over here. We can settle this. Oh, okay.
I think the Rays would accept that. For the record. Don't think they might not throw at you in spring training next year. I'm not joking here. This is, the Rays are smart. They've got a memory. They don't like New York, and they've used this Goliath against David Story, and this has been going on for several years now, and the Rays are winning.
Doesn't this go back to spring training 2008? And we talked to Matt Garza early in our first act as the 08 season was happening and they were going ultimately to the World Series, but the Rays for the first time became winners. And there was a spring training incident. I thought it was the Yankees, even though the first team that the Rays really had some angst against was the Red Sox, because Pedro hit a couple Rays and the Rays, fired back. They charged the mound. And so the first team they really had angst against was the Red Sox. Kind of, revered the Yankees, and George was living in Tampa and all that. But then in spring training, a couple guys got hit and the Rays had had enough. And all of a sudden there was a bit of a brouhaha in a spring training game in March.
Hard play at second, and all of a sudden the Rays had said enough.
And Matt Garza said it totally galvanized us. It was the first time that we stood up to the Yankees and we're like, enough's enough. So here they are 15 years later, and, the Yankees have won a World Series during that time, and the Rays have not. But here are the Rays who have what? Third best record in baseball? And the Yankees who are having the worst season they've had in over 30 years. And as the Rays said after the game, we're not going to waste our time talking about a last place team.
Awesome. Brandon Lau's statements after the game. It's a last place team against a team that's in contention. Not worth our time at this moment. That is the ultimate disrespect to the New York Yankees. I was actually surprised that wasn't the headline in the Post today. Not worth our time.
That is a mic drop. That's it. I'm sorry. What was your name again? I didn't catch it. Yeah. And if you're a Rays fan, tell me that moment is just not so sweet. It's like, wow, that's the truth. We can say that. And not only that, we don't have to fear retribution, because if we go back out and play again, we're probably going to beat them.
That's all we seem to do when we play them. We've owned them all year long.
Hell, and we owned them 2 years ago and 3 years ago. And, take a look at our record against those guys for the last few years. So the Rays taking 2 out of 3. And it was not a good weekend for the Orioles. And we are certainly, while we want the Rays to win the East, we are not rooting for bad things to happen to individuals or teams. The Rays have certainly had their share of injuries, and now they're dealing with the Wander Franco mess. But the Orioles had 2 things happen over the weekend. Flaherty, who they acquired from St. Louis, he's now going to miss 2 starts because of what they're calling general soreness. Well, that's got to be in a shoulder or a pitching arm, right? I mean, that can't be my
could be a lot of things. It could be a hip. I mean, with a pitcher, general soreness could be a lot of things. But you're probably right, David.
So Flaherty, who missed his start in the middle of last week, and then the hope was he was going to make his start, or now they're pushing that back till the weekend. So that's number 1. But number 2, their lights out closer. Arguably, so far this year, the best closer in baseball.
I'm not sure it's arguable. I think he's been the best closer in baseball.
And he is nailing down a save. I think it was Saturday. Maybe it was Friday, but I thought it was Saturday night. And he's literally throwing what could have been the last pitch of the game. and he tries to give it a little extra, and it's about 101-mile-an-hour fastball, and he feels something in his elbow. And he calls him out, and he's like, yeah, I don't think I can finish this at bat." And they had to bring in a guy, I think, who came in and threw 2 pitches and technically got the final out in the save. And he has, quote, "damage to his UCL." And so he immediately was put on the IL. So we wondered, the big issue for the Orioles down the stretch was going to be their young pitching. A, they've never pitched in games like this before, but B, they've also never thrown this many innings before. And how were the Orioles going to handle it? Well, right now, it's real easy to handle. The one guy's on the IL, don't know if he's going to pitch again this year. And your big deadline acquisition, Jack Flaherty, he's unable to go, and he's going to miss one start and have a second start pushed back.
Well, and Batista, too, if that's a TJ surgery, he's gone for all of next year, too. I mean, that's
right.
That's just devastating to the Orioles.
So the Rays are 2 back with 5 weeks to go. They have one more series with the Orioles. It's in Baltimore. And right now, Baltimore, I believe the Orioles have already won the season series against the Rays. I mean, they've done well against Tampa Bay. Not sure the Rays can even win the season series and win the tiebreaker.
You are correct. They own the tiebreaker already.
So one more series in Baltimore, like 3rd week, I think, of September. So 5 weeks to go in the season, roughly 31 to 33 games for most teams. And here we go. Rays are 2 back in the East.
And the Marlins are 3 back in the wild card in the National League after scuffling here for the past 8-10 days or so.
And I feel badly for them and general manager Kim Ang, because she went out and made the right move. David Robertson had been terrific for years, and she acquires him, and he's blown 4 saves and is now no longer their closer. Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
RCB, the Rays thought that a couple of guys who got hit the last series in New York, that it was intentional. They didn't think yesterday was.
I will say, because my wife makes me watch gymnastics, and I don't mind, but you got to feel badly for all these 17 and 18-year-olds who've been working their whole life and think now's the time, and now the 26-year-old decides to come back. They weren't supposed to have to deal with her.
No. And NBC is like, oh, please keep going.
Oh,
Please keep
can
going.
you get to the Olympics, young lady? She's so good.
If I was her, I'd accept no endorsements. I would do the exact opposite of 3 years ago when she was going to be the face of the Olympics and she was on 8 different products, and she came back quietly, trained on her own, showed back up, just kicked everybody's butt now for 6-8 months. Okay.
So this was my book I was talking about that I got in the mail. Just little, whatever, 5.5 by 8. Every NFL schedule and every college schedule.
Wow.
It's a great little book.
By every college schedule, do you mean just the Power Fives? Or
No.
Oh, okay.
No. They give all the big boy conferences, they do a little bit more work on. The Power Five, they've got the stat leaders from 2022 in their schedules. And then for the little conferences, they just have their schedules.
Oh, DC, Boone is definitely on the hot seat. He's an easy scapegoat, though.
It's a crispy seat. That's how hot it is.
I mean, Cashman's the one you should blame. I mean, the team is... I'm telling you, they got like 10 guys other people would want. Cashman's not getting a pass, CBW. The problem is the owner loves him, and he's 1 year into a 4-year deal. And most people think that, Hal doesn't want to pay him to stay home.
Cincinnati's at plus 1,500 to win the... All right, I like that. Come on, baby.
AFC or?
Whole thing.
Oh, okay. So 15-1 on the Bengals?
10 seconds.
How you holding up?
I'm good.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark, today's the tough one for young Felipe. He's got a full-time job. He's working for Hearst Broadcasting, the NBC and ABC affiliates in Southwest Florida, and he's working his way up. Apparently he wants to do this television thing. And he's thinking behind the camera, which I think is a little surprising to you and I, because he's a bit of a ham, and we thought maybe he'd want to be on the other side of the camera. But he seems to like having a camera on his shoulder. I think he wants to be a photographer.
You want to elaborate on what being a ham means?
A character.
Yeah,
A ham.
A ham.
I've never heard that.
You like drawing attention to yourself a little bit. Okay, you play for the camera. When we put you on camera and when we open up your microphone, okay, you have a tendency to,
Overdo it.
yeah, you're a bit of a ham.
That's
Miller
all.
and Yeah, Miller and Moulton are hams. I mean, very few people who talk into a microphone for a living or look into a camera for a living don't have some ham in them.
In fact, we thought about naming this show Ham and Cheese.
Right. And I would debate strongly which one I am because I
Depends on the
love
day.
them both.
Just depends on the day. We could
Right.
alternate.
So, Felipe, you've got, wow, that's making me feel old there. He doesn't know what being a ham is. Wow.
Instead of having that dog in me, I have that ham in me.
There you go. Nice. Well played, young man. See, that's some ham in you.
In modern terms, I'm him.
I'd
But
appreciate it
anyway,
if you got my name out your mouth.
Felipe usually works till like 7:30 at night over at the TV station. But Sunday, he's got to do the night shift. He's got to work through the 11 o'clock news. Think about it. And it's like 20 plus minutes from the TV station to where he lives. And so, I mean, 4 hours tops is what Felipe's getting to have to come in and deal with us two hams.
4 hours what he gets before, and then, 15, 20 minutes a pop during the show.
Right. Every 10, 12 minutes, he can doze off. So
Speaking of
hang in there,
times-
Felipe.
Speaking of one of those times for a nap, it's now time for
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton.
Down
Here's
goes
number one.
Felipe.
Well, the preseason's over. Let's start with football. Preseason's over. Dolphins, they announced a deal with a defensive lineman. The problem is it's Zach Seiler and not Christian Wilkins. Zach gets a 3-year extension for $39 million, 20 of it guaranteed. Dolphins rookie wide receiver Dawood Davis, he was the one who suffered the big hit midway through the fourth quarter of Saturday's preseason game. He spent Saturday night in a Jacksonville hospital. He has been released. He is in concussion protocol. The Steelers and Rams made a deal. The Pittsburgh sent offensive lineman Kevin Dotson to the Rams for a swap of a couple mid-round picks. Patriots and Browns made a deal. Pats acquire offensive tackle Tyrone Wheatley Jr. for running back Pierre Strong Jr. I don't want to say we're old, Mark, but we remember watching both dads play in college. Pats also acquired offensive tackle Vidarian Lowe for the Vikings for a 6th-round pick. So how do you think New England feels about their offensive line since they've just acquired 2 tackles after the preseason's over?
And we've talked about in the preseason how much depth the Pittsburgh Steelers had on their offensive line. They moved a lineman before the cut day.
Some notable cuts already, even though the deadline's 4 o'clock tomorrow. The Bears signed P.J. Walker to be their backup quarterback. They gave him a 2-year contract. They gave him $2 million guaranteed. They cut him. They're probably going with the Division II kid as their backup, who's been tremendous throughout camp. They also cut former first-round pick tackle Alex Leatherwood. Cleveland released former third-round pick wide receiver Anthony Schwartz. The Lions let go of veteran offensive lineman Jermaine Ifedi. The Colts let go of running back Kenyon Drake. The Patriots let go of Navy linebacker Diego Fago. The Giants let go of running back James Robinson. A year ago at this time, he was the starting running back for the Jags. And Tennessee released their kicker. Yes, that's right. As of this moment, the Titans do not have a kicker, which is okay because the Niners have 2 and they're both injured, and they don't think either one's going to be ready for the opener. Meanwhile, Robbie Gold's sitting at home. So's Mason Crosby. Anyway, one preseason game last night, the last one, Houston beat New Orleans 17-13. C.J. Stroud finally threw a touchdown pass in the preseason, and they named him the starter.
That must have been what they were waiting for, David. As soon as he can throw a touchdown pass, we will name you the starter.
Okay, it's Houston at Baltimore week 1. Are the Ravens going to be like everybody's pick in the elimination pool?
Absolutely.
Houston at Baltimore. 20 years ago, Houston opened up in Miami. Everybody picked the Dolphins. The Texans won. All right, baseball. Rays took 2 of 3 from the Yankees, 7-4 the final. Tampa Bay 2 back of Baltimore, lost to Colorado 4-3 and put their closer on the injured list. Dodgers beat the Red Sox 7-4. This is a homecoming for Mookie Betts this weekend. He was serenaded with chants of Mookie and standing ovations throughout. It's been 4 years since he had played at Fenway Park. Mookie had 7 hits, by the way, in the 3-game series, including his 35th homer yesterday. Cleveland beat Toronto 10-7 and 11. The Guardians are 6 back of the Twins in the Central, but Toronto's now 2.5 behind in the chase for the final wild card spot. And you know who they're chasing, Mark? It ain't Seattle, because the Mariners are in first in the West, thank you very much. They've won 11 of 12. They beat Kansas City 3-2. They're chasing either Texas or Houston, who are tied for second, a game back. Texas having lost 9 of 10, including blowing a 5-run lead yesterday and losing to the Twins 7-6 and 13. Houston, meanwhile, beat Detroit 17-4. A couple of nice moments in that game. It was Verlander against Miguel Cabrera. And so the 2 former teammates and 2 future Hall of Famers would tip the cap at each other before the at-bat would start. And then after Verlander threw 6 shutout innings, Cabrera hit his 510th homer late in the game, moving him past Gary Sheffield on the all-time list. Marlins, who had David Robertson blow yet another save on a painful Saturday loss, came back and had Jorge Soler hit his 35th homer yesterday and avoid the sweep against Washington 2-1. But they are 3 back of Arizona for the final playoff spot in the National League. Arizona beat the Reds 5-2. Cincy's a game and a half back in the battle for the 7th seed, as are the Giants, who beat the Braves 8-5. But right now, Arizona's the 6th seed. The Cubs are the 5. They beat Pittsburgh 10-1. They're 2 games clear for the final playoff spot. The Phillies are comfortably the 4 seed. Aaron Nola with 7 shutout, 1-hit innings in a 3-0 win over St. Louis. Milwaukee won their 8th in a row, sweeping the Padres 8-5 the final. The Brewers' lead in the Central is 4. Mets avoid the sweep at the hands of the Angels 3-2. And the Oakland A's are 55 games below 500. They're on pace to win 47 games. That would mean 115 losses. That is really difficult to do.
You know, they're only 2.5 back of the Royals. That's how bad the Royals are.
I was trying to save Kansas City the embarrassment. But you know what? Since we're going to be talking about nothing about Mahomes and the Chiefs for the foreseeable future, we might as well bring the Royals back down to earth. Hey, there was a walk-off in the Little League World Series yesterday. California blew a 5-run lead. Curacao came all the way back, hit a slam to tie it. And then 12-year-old Luis Lappi with a walk-off homer. Curacao had not given up a homer the entire tournament until they challenged the kid who had already hit 4. California wins the whole thing 6-5. Victor Hovland was 19 under over 4 days. So was Xander Schauffele, by the way. The thing is that Hovland started 5 shots ahead of Schauffele, because that's how the Tour Championship does it. They, based on how you finished in the season, and they start you off at different spots. So actually the 2 finished tied, with Schauffele shooting a 62 on Sunday, which would have been epic if they went to a playoff. But instead, Hovland won the Tour Championship by 5. Oh, by the way, he won $18 million, but it's not about the money.
No, it's getting your name on the trophy. That's what's important, right, Trevor?
Right. The LIV is all about the money. The PGA Tour is not.
The prestige of winning the FedEx Cup. They ran an ad. I watched most of that yesterday. They ran an ad for official FedEx Cup merchandise, and I started laughing out loud going, who other than employees of FedEx would ever wear that stuff?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I watched about 20 minutes of the golf and I saw the same ad and I went, seriously? Seriously?
You want to wear a U.S. Open shirt? I mean, you see Master stuff everywhere.
Right.
British.
Yeah.
Open. I get it.
Right.
I have some of it.
FedEx Cup series?
Are you serious?
LPGA Tour American Megan Kang gets her first career win, the Canadian Open in a playoff. The Solheim Cup will announce their final 3 picks. The U.S. team will later today. Ryder Cup, by the way, Zach Johnson makes his 6 captains picks tomorrow. I was wrong about that last week. I said they both did it on Monday. Solheim Cup today, Ryder Cup tomorrow. Saturday night in Daytona, Chris Buescher won. Eric Almirola, the Tampa native, he needed a win to get in the playoff. He finished 3rd. Ross Chastain, 17th. He has not been doing that well.
He's been terrible the last half of the season. Going into the playoff, he's not doing a damn thing, David.
And he enters the playoffs in 8th place. Meanwhile, you may have seen or heard about an outrageous crash. Ryan Preece flipped 14 times in the air while bouncing a few times off the ground and walked out of the vehicle. It's one of the probably 5 most dramatic NASCAR crashes of all time. I mean, it's up there with Petty at Talladega when he got caught in the fencing. It's unreal how that crash took your breath away, and he walked away with it. Bubba Wallace got the 16th and final playoff spot in NASCAR. Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs, and Chase Elliott all miss the playoffs. 45-year-old Kurt Busch, who hasn't raced in over a year after a crash at Pocono, and he suffered a severe concussion. He announced his retirement over the weekend. You may have missed it, Mark. Messi scored again. He didn't start, but they put him in 15 minutes into the second half with Inter Miami already leading 1-0, and their head coach said he's not going to play all the matches. We have to learn how to play without him. And they went to New York City and beat the Red Bulls 2-0. They're in Nashville on Wednesday. This is actual MLS games. These count the standings.
No, these count.
Right. And gymnast Simone Biles won her record 8th U.S. Gymnastics Championship. How old is she? 26? Right, which in gymnastics terms means she's about 47, right?
Right.
Yeah, she won her 8th championship, and she's, once again the favorite to do everything in the Olympics a year from now. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
You two were like feigning a heart attack that I mentioned the Little League World Series.
I was. I know you like Williamsport. I get it. You covered it. We've been through that. I just been doing this with you for nearly 20 years, and I don't ever recall you mentioning it, the World Series in a starting 5. It just, you threw me, David.
Well, A U.S. team won. Okay, so I think a few more people care, but also B, it was pretty damn dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
I'm guessing we're going to hear more about it later in the show. I thought the first time I was going to hear about it was 30 or so minutes from now. That's all.
I mean, California gave up a walk-off, a grand slam in the top of the 5th, bottom of the 5th, whatever. No, top of the 5th. Yeah. And then they come back and hit a solo shot on the second pitch of the bottom of the 6th.
A walk-off, baby.
It was awesome.
Yeah. I'm guessing you'll hear Carl Ravitch on the call coming up in about 35 minutes on the play of the day.
Either that or Messi's goal from Saturday night. I mean, it's one or the other.
It could be both. Although, Mark, Victor Hovland, making another birdie to finish birdie and win the Tour Championship by 5. I thought that I had a chance.
Right. FedEx Cup.
Right. That's
really important.
Yep. Nothing beats it. When we come back, a couple of major signings in the NFL and a noteworthy trade in the NFL since we last spoke. What the heck has happened to this league? They're
coming around, David.
They finally have gotten all the memos that we have sent them over the years.
And begged of them, trade more players. It actually makes sense for you. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Does Coastal Carolina have a shot at UCLA?
I don't know.
Jim, do you follow Jim Dunaway on Twitter?
I know of him, but
He
I don't
just-
think I follow him.
Anyhow, he has a grid. Like basically, if we did guess the network, he has a little grid with all the networks and all the games, which shows you how bad week one is too. Until you get to Sunday, because there are not that many good games.
Week one.
Yeah. Shimko, did you see that? I think it's the Miami of Ohio quarterback said, "We're the real Miami."
That's so funny. That might be the only game I'll be able to go to this year because I work Saturdays. So I think I'm gonna head out there Friday. Miami versus Miami. I'm pissed though because I really want to go to A&M. They host A&M and Clemson. I won't be able to go to either of those games.
You work Saturdays?
Yep.
Can you swap off with someone?
I can try.
Well,
It sucks though because I'm eating up most of my vacation days for the City of Palms.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Worth it though.
That's funny, CBW, FedEx Cup or the NBA Cup. That's good. Quality material right there.
It is. It is.
I would say the FedEx Cup is played up more because they do it all season, where the NBA Cup's early enough in the season will only be inundated for 4 to 6 weeks.
I like it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of August, 3 days away from the official start of the college football season. That was just some calamari over the weekend. That's all that was. That's not the entree. All right. And some people don't like calamari. So you didn't partake at all. So I didn't just choose calamari, Mark, because I'm a fan of calamari. I chose it for a specific reason. It's a love-hate appetizer. Just like
I
week
thought it was
0.
way too good of an appetizer to call week 0. That when you said it to me, I was like, really? You're putting calamari there? But I get your point now. I'm glad you explained it because that makes sense.
Give me another love-hate appetizer.
No. I'm with you. I just thought it was a lousy appetizer.
Deviled eggs. I mean, give me a love-hate appetizer.
Once you explained yourself, like I said, I think your explanation justifies why you chose it.
I mean, I can't put cheese plate. Everybody loves a cheese plate. At least I think so. So there's a few things to discuss. Chris Landry, by the way, to talk all things football. I mean, that's how he makes his living, chrislandryfootball.com. Chris Landry, who's going to be a regular on this show on Mondays. Huh? So he figured we might as well get things started, especially since we're not doing a show next Monday. We're not doing a show on Labor Day. Sorry. I know. Sorry.
Wow, you just made my day today.
Not doing a show.
I'm in such a woke up in a great mood, and I'm even in a better mood now. It just didn't even realize we had Monday off next week.
Wow. You could tell you're already in the grind. Okay. You didn't realize Monday's Labor Day and we're not working.
I mean, I knew we weren't working Labor Day. I just never put 1 and 1 together, David.
So, Chris Landry, 1 hour from now. So, let's go back, shall we? Let's kind of go step by step as to how the football weekend went. So, it was around 7:15, 7:30 Friday. And all of a sudden, hold on a second. Did the Niners trade Trey Lance? Now, they had said he was available, but they also had said he's probably going to stick with us. Now, we disputed that on this show. We thought that, no, that actually they kind of want the fourth string quarterback, Brandon Allen, over him, and that they'll expose him to waivers and he ain't going to make it through. And we kind of thought that when they announced Sam Darnold as the backup, that they ended Trey Lance's time in San Francisco. And we thought somebody would trade for him. Mark, of all the teams that you thought were going to trade for him, where did you have the Dallas Cowboys?
30th.
I was stunned. I mean, almost mouth agape. Like, I pulled the car over. I was driving to my daughter's house, and I pulled the car over and said, I could have sworn they said he got traded to Dallas. Must have heard that wrong. Yeah. And apparently, the Bills, the Lions, and the Ravens all called. But they were all offering around a 6th-round pick. And the Cowboys, as John Lynch said, quote, they really wanted him. So I'm going to speculate, Mark, and here's how the conversation went. Dallas offered a 5th. And they said, well, we're getting a lot of offers and this, that. And Dallas said, we'll give you a 4th and we do the deal right now. And Lynch said, well, okay then. Boom. Trey Lance was gone. What do you think of that? Trey Lance to the Cowboys. He's got 2 years left on his rookie deal. Dak Prescott has 2 years left on his big contract. Trey's going to be nothing but the 3rd-string quarterback this year. I mean, hell, he's got to learn the playbook, for goodness sakes. He's not going to be ahead of Cooper Rush. If Dak were to get banged up, Cooper's going to be the one playing.
Absolutely. I like the move for Dallas. I would have liked the move for a lot of teams because he's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And while this looks like a bust, it could be a redemption story, and you just paid a 4th-round pick for a guy that was a 1st-round talent quarterback who had an injury. Sorry, David, but I mean, you look back, he played against Chicago. You can't even count that game. It doesn't count. It was in a monsoon, and then he gets hurt the next game. So you've got really nothing to go by for Trey Lance. Nothing.
4 starts, I believe, in his career in 2 years. 4 starts. Now, Trey Lance this year costs about $1 million. Next year, he costs around $5 million. It's the way his contract's structured. At least that's the cap hits that I looked up and saw. That his cap hit this year is small. His cap hit next year is bigger. I don't understand it either. But so there you have it. Because, he was a 3rd overall pick. So at some point, his salaries, it's not $1 million at some point. I'm a little surprised, the team that had been linked with Trey Lance was Minnesota, which made sense because they don't have a plan at quarterback after this year. Cousins is a free agent. And they can't tag him.
The thing is, David, if Dallas doesn't have a really good year, it's all going to be on Dak. And I'm not a Dak guy, so I love the investment in the future to see what you can find out with this guy. I love it.
Dak's cap hit next year is almost 60. It's like 58, I think. Now, he'd be entering the final year of a deal. So in theory, they set it up that way to do what? To sit down and negotiate a new contract and make it more cap friendly and blah, blah, blah. But you're right, Mark. This is a big year for Dak. This is year 8 also. This is year 8. And let's face it, if Dak and Mike McCarthy don't have a really good year, well, Dan Quinn's going to be coaching the Cowboys next year. So that was number 1. Number 2, the Bucs announced that Ryan Jensen's going on season-ending IR, and his career is very much in doubt. 32-year-old center who really solidified the position. Heroic what he did last year in training camp early. He got his ACL, MCL, PCL. Just left knee shredded and avoided surgery. All trying to come back for the playoffs. And he did. Played in the playoff game against Dallas. He says he didn't play well. And that could end up being his last game. He said he wouldn't do anything differently. Still didn't want to have surgery. Still doesn't want to have surgery. Todd Bowles said, Mark, that basically the more work he did, the less the knee responded. So not a good sign for a 32-year-old Ryan Jensen, whose career may be over, but certainly his season is for Tampa Bay. Now the Dolphins. Apparently they still have the best offer on the table for Jonathan Taylor.
We both thought the deal was going to get done over the weekend. It did not. We thought when we signed off on Friday at 10, after the bonus hour that is aired locally in the 239, we thought, well, they're going to get this deal done.
And apparently it's a stare down. Apparently the Dolphins have said, listen, nobody else has offered you what we've offered you. And here you go. And there are two reports. One is a second-round pick and a player or two. And the other is a second-round pick and then a third-day draft choice. Colts had said they want a first-round pick or at least first-round value. And so the Dolphins feel as if they've made that offer. And the Colts have till 4 o'clock tomorrow. Now, technically, Jonathan Taylor is on the PUP list, even though he was at practice over the weekend. So the Colts, first off, they could keep him on the PUP list and he missed the first 4 games. I'm sure that'd go over really well. Or they could trade him, or they could just keep him and activate him and play him in the opener, I believe, against the Jags. 4 o'clock tomorrow. It's a stare down. Got about 33 hours left in the poker match. Is Jonathan Taylor going to be a Miami Dolphin? Meanwhile, how shocked are you that the Dolphins could not reach a deal with Christian Wilkins?
Stunned. When I saw that they signed
Zach Seiler
there, I thought that was, Dolphins D lineman. Nope, it's not Wilkins. What just happened here?
Especially since we had been led to believe that the money had pretty much been agreed to. It was just the structure. Now, that could mean a couple of different things. It could mean A, how much of it was guaranteed. Also B, how much of it gets paid out when. But it means that Wilkins, the other thing I'm surprised about is why did they announce this now? I mean, you still have time to negotiate with him, right? I mean, you could have negotiated all this week, correct? Or are they announcing it because basically they want to set their roster and their cap by Tuesday at 4? But I mean, it's an extension. So how much of it was going to count against this year's cap anyway? But Wilkins is now a free agent at the end of this year. They could tag him.
They could, but they'll be in cap jail next year if they try to tag him. And they're going to have to unload like $40 million. I think it's $40 million they're going to be over the cap if the intended tag, about $20 million, what it'll be for Wilkins, where they'll be next year, David.
And if you get rid of Ogba and Xavier Howard, I think you still have about $8 million you got to cut. And that's just to get under the cap. That doesn't include being able to sign draft picks or anything like that. One other Dolphins note, we went over this last week. They don't have a 3rd or a 4th round pick in this year's draft. If they get Jonathan Taylor and give up this year's 2nd round pick, the Dolphins will have a 1 and then a 5 in next year's draft. It's very LA Rams, isn't it?
Yeah, the Dolphins literally look like they've pushed all their chips in for this year with where they are from a salary cap standpoint going forward. No draft picks.
I mean, some right now, right. But Stephen Ross is going to have to, which he has never been shy about, turning salary into cash. But Stephen Ross may have to, shell out about $50 million in cold hard cash in the next 6-8 months to turn salary into cash to help the Dolphins cap situation.
And don't you think that if he is going to do that and be willing to do it, he needs more than a squeaking in for a last wild card type of year out of his football team? If you're going to spend the money, you're going to want to see some results on the field. So a lot of pressure on the Miami Dolphins, at least we think, with what Ross is going to have to pay up coming up. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Felipe, do you have one of those PlayStation media remotes? You were the one telling me about that, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't have one though.
So I get a text from Casio. And Andre's had some things going on. He's like, I'm with Andrea. Need a favor. Big favor. Got my fantasy football draft today. Can you take a picture of Dr. Roto's cheat sheets and send it to me?
Did he not stay for them, or
He said he just was. I think he was.
Oh, he didn't have
with
him with
Andre, he
him.
didn't have him with him, and he just
Gotcha. That's
he
funny.
had stuff going on, and he's like, because I just sent him a text because I had soccer practice Saturday morning, so I sent him a text about 10:30 when I got home, and said, "How was the song?"
Nice.
And about an hour and a half later, what did he send me? God, it was funny. Funny kid. That's right, because he was mad. Because apparently, I didn't realize that they had F1 qualifying on ESPN and put game day on you. And basically, like John said, they didn't tell anybody.
They did what?
I said, "Did you see the song?" I was at soccer. I missed. He says, "Didn't see it. They started on ESPNU doing F1 qualifying and never told anyone." The answer when I do see it will be no. And I'll be honest, here's the one thing about, here's my first cord cutting experience, if you will. And since I've been used to YouTube TV, because it's what we have here in the studio, I don't look for channels. I look for what the show is. And it merely said College Game Day, so I clicked on it. And I'm like, why is the U ticker? Who cares? It's the show I want to watch. Two of the three of them picked Alabama to win the national title. McAfee and Herbstreit. I did not see who Des picked. I missed that.
Did he go out on a limb and pick Michigan?
He might have. He had Alabama in the final game. He probably had him against Michigan. I didn't see it, so. Okay. Yeah. Hey, I mean, look at I'm not a Des guy, and you know I hate Michigan, but how can one of the three not pick Michigan to win it this year?
If you're ever gonna pick Michigan in the last 25 years, this
Right.
would be the year to pick Michigan.
Right.
Although they really are going to miss their coach for the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Did you send Chris a link?
I did.
Okay. He said if we could send him a new one every week.
Oh, yeah. I
That's what I figure.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Chris Landry to talk all things football. 40 minutes from now. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You can text the show, 21,000. That's it. If you've never texted us before, you need the keyword FSN Radio, all one word, FSN Radio. Young Felipe and the play of the day coming up a handful of minutes from now. You know, I admitted earlier in the show that this was a monumental, if not troubling, weekend for me because I actually watched 45 to 60 minutes of preseason football. This was a monumental weekend for you.
David, I cut the cord this weekend, or it was cut for me. My DirecTV subscription ended and got up on Saturday morning and went to turn the TV on and went, well, guess the paid month is over with.
guess they're really paying attention.
So I went through the process and signed up for YouTube TV, bought the Sunday ticket.
By saying you went through the process, is this like the 76ers? You went through the process, or what?
A lot more quickly than
Okay.
the 76ers did. My process was merely going through the sign-up routine.
I'm hoping you got a little further along the road than just the second round also with the process.
I got everything done, was able to watch television within an hour, so I feel I did a lot better than the Sixers, David.
I agree. I think you won the championship. Congratulations.
But more importantly, really, than me being able to get the YouTube TV going, my wife was able to navigate the remote controls and watch gymnastics without any help from me last night. So I figure it is a huge win-win in the household right now.
I'm going to need help this week because we're having to relocate for a 4 to 6 week period of time while we have some work done on our dwelling. And the place that we are renting apparently has Roku.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that's all they have.
Right.
Right. I have no idea of which they're speaking. I've heard of it. I have no idea what it is.
And you don't have YouTube TV.
No.
You might have some
So-
trouble then.
You're
Well-
not going to be able to watch a whole lot of live television.
No.
And by a
Oh!
whole lot of live television, David, you're not going to be able to watch any.
Mark,
Don't
You might have to
Don't-
slide that login to him.
don't tell me that. I've got 2 other people that I'm living with who they really need their TV or it's gonna be hell. 'Cause
Well,
I
here's
picked
the alternative. You need to wait for it. Subscribe to a TV service here quickly.
It's not how do I do this? It's not my place. I can't change what they're doing.
David, you have this little thing that usually is in the palm of your hand most of the day. It's called an iPhone. You can do it all on your phone.
I'm going to need literally I'm going to need step-by-step instruction here as to what I have to do between now and Friday.
Quick random poll question. You can text the show 21,000 just with a yes or no. Do you think we should go to Twitch TV for Tech Time with David when Felipe and I are breaking this down for him? Or just record it and maybe edit it into a segment for next week?
Right.
We can't do this on the air. It'll be too embarrassing. It really will for me. It'll be too embarrassing. Because there are some things.
Here's the thing. We probably will have to see one another, David. So there's a good chance that we could use the Zoom feature where you can have your phone in your hand. And, because we could FaceTime it, but that's not going to work because you're going to have to be able to do multiple things. So, and I promise, David, that I won't record it while we do it.
Believe it or not, I think that we can get this done during the time of one of our segments. If you cooperate, of course.
No way. I wouldn't. It'd be terrible radio, but I wouldn't do it because there's no way that we could get it done in a segment. You and I could, Felipe.
They throw a lot of things out on TikTok. This could be one of those classic, hey, trying to teach dad/granddad, how to, use a modern streaming service or what have you. This could be very embarrassing for me. So you cut the cord, and apparently an hour later, all was well with the world.
All was well. We're just fine. I'm fired up for the Sunday ticket. I'm fired up for the little 4-in-1 box that they have for the Sunday ticket, so I can, put that spare TV on 4 games at once and get the volume on the other. I'm ready.
Gone are the days of TV channel numbers.
What? And that's what I found out because game day was not on ESPN on Saturday morning, or it didn't start on ESPN because they had F1 qualifying. I didn't even know that because I simply just went to the guide, if you will, and it just said college game day. And I click.
It knows what you want to watch.
It does.
Mhm.
It's a little scary.
Well, I mean,
a little scary. It can read your mind, and you find that only slightly troubling.
it's to help you, David. It's nothing personal.
There are spouses who have no idea what the other is thinking. You're telling me my television's gonna know? How many times has, and I'm being stereotypical here, how many times has the wife looked at the husband and said, "What are you thinking?" And the husband goes, "Nothing." But the TV is instead going to show, "Oh no, you were thinking of something." I can't be outed like that. Okay.
It's not a drive-through. It's just an ESPN channel that'll show you.
I thought you said you were thinking of nothing, and now you just changed the channel on me. All right, 28 minutes after the hour.
Time now for Felipe, the play of the day. What do you have for us?
Well, most young baseball players, I think, watch the Little League World Series and dream of being in the Little League World Series one day. Now, imagine dreaming of being in the Little League World Series and hitting a walk-off home run to win the whole dang thing.
Curacao has not allowed a home run at the World Series. Challenged him, and this game is over! Louis Lappy does it again! California, your Little League World Series champs on a walk-off home run!
Now, did you catch the announcer jinx there?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable that seconds after pointing out that Curacao had not given up a home run in the entire tournament, they give off the losing home run. California, Little League World Series champions. I didn't watch a single inning of Little League World Series baseball until the championship game. It was exciting.
And apparently an epic bat flip. And I have to
Oh,
admit, apparently
flung
he
it in
just
the
like
air.
flung it in the air, and it darn near took out like 3 people on the way down, apparently.
You know, the Messi goal was an honorable mention, but the video does the play justice because the pass
Yes. Yeah,
that
there were-
Messi has to set up the goal, the pass that comes right back to him for the goal that he eventually scores was world class. Unreal.
The defense was not.
No.
So Louis Lappy, 12 or 13 years of age, hits a walk-off homer to win the Little League World Series. I say you stop playing sports at that moment.
It's the best moment he'll ever have in his life.
Yeah. That's going to be really tough to beat.
It really is.
Especially if he continues to play baseball. I mean, making it to the majors would be a greater accomplishment, but in terms of a moment, what in the world would have to happen to him in the majors that you think would top Williamsport? Remember, Chris Drury ended up winning a Stanley Cup, and they said that until he won the Cup, you know, the highlight was pitching his Little League team to the Little League World Series title.
At 12, you've peaked.
Right.
But
That's
what an
tough.
awesome moment.
Yeah, it was great. Carl Ravitch, ESPN, with the call, the play of the day. Chris Landry in a half an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I ran a poll on my Instagram yesterday. What is the greatest carb in human history? Bread or potato? 105 voters, 58% say bread, 42% potato.
How come pasta wasn't on the list?
You're taking pasta over bread and potatoes?
I'm taking pasta over potatoes.
You are.
Far more versatile.
Are they, though?
Oh, yeah.
It's just, oh, that's tough.
3 there, didn't I? I'd vote bread over potato every day.
Someone else said rice.
Ah, no, rice is boring.
Rice is boring. I no disrespect to rice. I love rice, but
I know that could get you in trouble with your heritage. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean that's
the
why I
Latin
love
culture,
rice.
beans and rice. I mean, come on, what
rice
do you?
and beans, yeah, arroz con frijoles. But beer is the greatest carb.
Mic drop, Ryan with the mic
There you
drop.
go, Ryan.
There you go.
Yep. No, but just had me curious. Bread or potatoes? I feel like most people would say bread, but don't sleep on the almighty potato. Because there's no breakfast pasta, like a breakfast mac and cheese.
No, you're right.
Right. Potatoes, every meal has potatoes.
I got you. But there's, but they both need something to make them good. On their own, they're not. See, a piece of warm bread doesn't even need butter. Like if I bake a loaf of bread, you can eat a piece of bread without anything, and it's warm and it's delicious.
Yeah. A fresh baguette.
I had not seen the clip of it, but it was all over TikTok, and it's old, obviously, because Barker died over the weekend. But it was some autism thing, and Barker's in the hospital, and Adam Sandler's there, and they hadn't seen each other, and they get in another fight in the hospital. And at the end of it, Bob Barker pours his bedpan over his head.
That scene where they're fighting on the course is all time. I think you've had enough. Nope.
The price is wrong.
No, you've had enough.
No, it's spectacular.
The price is wrong.
So Sandler said that when he approached Barker and what have you, and then talked about the fight scene, that Barker said, "I'll do it, but I have to win." No, but and Barker said, "Listen, I'm not worried about but I'm going to get beat up and this, that, and the other thing. So at the end of the day, I got to win the fight." And Sandler was like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool." So that's apparently the negotiation that took place.
And I can see that negotiation taking as long as our Miller and Moulton thing out front. I can see Sandler going, "Yep, okay, done."
People don't believe, but we decided to ditch our solo shows, come together on what to name the show in about a minute and a half.
That new season of Winning Time is out. Such a great show.
Good, nice. I'm gonna have to. Now I can watch the end of first season 1 and season 2 because part of the deal with Sunday Tickets, I got 4 free months of Max.
Nice.
So I get to catch up with Succession, Winning Time.
Oh, Winning Time is so good.
Boy, oh boy! At soccer, we got into the Gators documentary, and even the Gator fans thought it was awful that I was with.
Yes, everyone thinks it's awful.
Well, I mean, not in Gainesville, they don't. Oh my goodness!
The world does not revolve around Gainesville, but yes.
But I mean, the Florida guy, he's because I said I watched the first 2 episodes. You don't need to watch the rest. He looked right at me. He's like,
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry of Landry Football will join us coming up at the top of the hour. A prominent scout. He's paid by many elite college program and some NFL teams to go through video and give his assessment of other teams and players. And he will be giving his assessment of the big three Florida NFL teams most every Monday at 8 o'clock throughout the football season here on Miller and Moulton. We'll talk a little college and a little pro with Chris Landry coming up in about 20 minutes time.
Text line is open at 21,000-21,000. Anytime you want to text the show, the keyword is FSN Radio. If you've never done it before, FSN Radio, all one word. Text that to 21,000, and then you are in, and you can text as much as you would like.
I am, and granted, I'm a goober, so I think most people, will take this and go, yeah, no kidding. But I'm very excited about Cut Down Day being by 4 o'clock tomorrow, because I think there's going to be a lot of names that are going to surprise us. We've already had a series of trades. I think we're going to have at least another handful of trades, even if they're not major. And I think some teams are making some hard decisions here, and I like it. I like player movement. Don't like guys losing their jobs. We've lost our jobs before. It sucks. But unfortunately, it's what you sign up for.
And I think how much movement do you think there'll be today?
I think most of the movement will happen today. I think tomorrow will be just teams with their rosters pretty set and then waiting for the waiver wire. They'll make sure they go, okay, who are the 3 to 5 guys we have on our roster that we're willing to bump if so-and-so ends up on waivers, or this guy ends up on waivers. So I actually expect most of the deals to go down today, and essentially tomorrow teams set their roster board like they would a draft board. But what do I know? Pat Kerwin will join us tomorrow. We'll talk to him. He's done this before a few times. So we'll talk to him about how it goes down.
And this year, though, is different. I mean, it won't be that much different because the early cuts were really guys that nobody wanted anyhow. But the fact is, we've never had one cut day until this year. And
it used to be, right, 90 would go to 75, which would go to 53, and now it's just 90 to 53. Now, within a day or so, 16 guys per team get signed to the practice squad. So really 90 becomes 69. And if 2 or 3 guys go on IL, 72 out of 90 probably on average have contracts in some way, shape, or form for next year. So it's really only 20 to 25% of the guys are going to truly be out of football, hoping someone gets hurt and they can get a phone call. So it is a lot better than it used to be when the practice squad used to be like 6.
What you think of that? It seems ridiculous.
It's the only good thing that came out of the pandemic. All right. And I applaud the NFL who, throws money around like manhole covers, but they actually made a long-term decision based on what is in the best interest of the product. And yes, they gave 10 extra players jobs at $75,000 to $125,000 a season. So let's just say it costs them on average of $1 million. Well, the NFL's cheap. I mean, for a $20 billion industry, they're cheap. And each team agreed to shell out an extra $1 million in salary because the coaches and general managers convinced their owners, you have no idea how much better it is that we get to pick from this bigger pool.
Now, why they don't get to dress 53 on game day is beyond David and I, and we'll never, ever figure that out.
Why they're paying 6, 7 guys every week to stand in street clothes and get a full salary. It's the dumbest thing we've ever heard.
For a league that's cheap, it goes against everything that they believe in.
So maybe one day. Now, they at least made a designation for the third quarterback now. He only has to be on the 53-man roster, and, you put him in street clothes or put him in a uniform, and he, stands there, and never to enter the game unless the first 2 quarterbacks are hurt. Hurt, not ineffective, hurt. What was pointed out after the Trey Lance trade? And I don't think this is something that most of us realized. 4 of the last 6 seasons, the Niners have had 3 or more quarterbacks have to start games for them during the regular season. 3 or more quarterbacks. Not just, they've had to use their backup because Garoppolo got hurt a lot. But 4 of their 6 seasons, Shanahan and Lynch have had to go to a third quarterback to start games, which is why their decision to trade Trey Lance is even more interesting, because based on their recent history, Trey Lance would have started at least one game on average for them this year. And yet they deemed him not worthy of keeping around for a 4th round pick.
Would you have traded him, David?
Well,
he's
I
23. You got 2 more years. Okay, you wouldn't have drafted him, but you're in that position where you have him under contract for what, 2 more years?
Correct. Here's why I would not have traded him. And yes, I would have lost Brandon Allen in the process. And I think deep down the Niners trusted Brandon Allen in an emergency fill-in role more than they trusted Trey Lance. And they're thinking, we're all in for a Super Bowl. We can't take the risk. But the reason I wouldn't have is that I'm not sold on Brock Purdy physically. There's a few people that I know that have been around Niners camp, and they're like, yeah, he does not have his fastball. I'm just telling you, he's not back to – this is like a pitcher coming off arm surgery, and he's like, yeah, he ain't hitting 96 on the gun, if you know what I mean. And you could argue Brock Purdy was never a hit 96, 97 guy on the gun to begin with. That Brock Purdy was a 92, 93 mile an hour guy who there are a few people who followed the Niners who are like, he's kind of throwing 87, 88. So,
he's not very physically imposing either.
Well, but you don't have to be. Montana made a great point, and I understand, Montana last played 30 years ago, but he said, how many times, yes, I did not have the strongest arm. But how many times did Elway have to make the Elway throw a game? He goes, 2. Okay, I can't make those throws. The other 35, though, I'm pretty good. And so you can get away with not being able to make the Allen, Herbert, Mahomes throws. You really can. Like Tua doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. Throws a great deep ball, by the way, without the strongest arm in the world. He's a very accurate deep thrower. So was Montana, by the way. He just had to release it sooner.
And that's the problem we've seen with Tua. I mean, how many times last year with Hill did he actually underthrow him on balls that Hill was 5 steps past a guy?
So the reason why I would not have traded him is that, first off, are we sure Brock Purdy is going to be their quarterback for the next 5-6 years? Now, the only way, Mark, that I would have traded him is if literally you were Lynch and I were Shanahan and we went out and we came to the conclusion he can't play. Nope. He's not our quarterback of the future. I don't care if Purdy gets hurt again and Sam Darnold becomes Sam Darnold. I don't care. He ain't the guy. We were wrong. We screwed up. Cut our losses. Let's go. If we came to that conclusion, of course I would have gotten rid of him. But the Niners, even now, Shanahan spoke yesterday for the first time about it. Lynch gave an interview Friday night during their final preseason game in which he tried to say, hey, the kid did everything we asked. He got hurt a couple times. We're in a situation where we can't wait. All right. Feel badly for him. We took a shot. We blew it. Okay. We have to own it. Shanahan blames himself. He said it all goes back to he got hurt in the final preseason game his rookie year. And he goes, I have lost sleep for a year and a half going, why did I even have him in the game? Because if he doesn't break his finger in the final preseason game his rookie year, it cost him all that time. It actually affected how he threw the ball and has since. And Shanahan goes, I blame me. I really do. I blame me. He goes, not for the injury year 2 that you're playing, that happens. He said, but we had reworked the offense and thought we had it set up for him. And, we were excited. So it was interesting. 3 1s and a 3. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I mean, 3 1s and a 3 for a 4.
Right.
I mean, that at the end of the day is what it is. It's 3 1s and a 3, and you got a 4th-round pick back for it. That's what you gave up. That's what you got.
The Niners are an interesting, sorry, Mark. The Niners are an interesting case study in look at how good their roster is, and they have blown so many first-round picks. They drafted Solomon Thomas 3rd overall. They drafted Reuben Foster in the 1st round. They drafted Javon Kinlaw in the 1st round. They gave up 3 1s and a 3 for Trey Lance. I mean, they got Bosa right.
Right, and yet what do they have they certainly have a top 10 roster in the league.
Probably a top 6. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 flat-out difference makers. In fact, I don't know if a team has more individual guys that you go, yeah, I don't have an answer for him. I mean, they have Debo. They have McCaffrey. Right. They have Kittle. Some people think that fullback is somebody that you can't account for. And then they got Bosa, who's a sack-a-game guy for 3 years. I mean, they've got flat-out individual difference makers. And if Brock Purdy is the guy, my goodness, they've got 3 more years of paying him about $800,000.
I'll be curious if Kittle's still a difference maker anymore. I don't know if he is. The other ones I agree with you wholeheartedly on. I'm not sure if Kittle's still a difference maker. Good, but no longer elite to me.
Are the Niners, though, the proof? You know, like the Rams traded away all their picks and they bought certain players and they got themselves a Super Bowl. Well, the Niners have used picks to get guys, too. You know, they gave up a ton of picks to get McCaffrey. Now they gave a ton of picks for Trey Lance, and we saw how that worked out. But, I mean, look at how much
they hit on Purdy. I mean, if that works out, the whole thing is not justified, but salary-wise, you're getting away with it because of Purdy.
Yeah,
that's where the Rams didn't get away with it because they're paying Stafford all that money.
Okay, this is Seattle with Russ. That is what this will be. It'll be like, well, thank goodness Brock Purdy saved their bacon, or else they'd be a disaster. And remember, they gave up 2 2s for Garoppolo. I mean, they have used and traded away many draft picks to put this roster together.
In a certain way, I know you of all people have to applaud them in one way, David. What have they kept trying to do? They kept trying to draft their quarterback or trade for their quarterback or do whatever they can do to find the guy to play that position.
Because, Mark, how many times do you have to be right?
Once. Just once.
Ron Wolf said, you draft a quarterback every year. He goes, no, you don't have to draft in the 1st, 2nd round. But Ron Wolf was famous for 5th, 6th, 7th round. He'd bring in a new arm every year. Yeah, let's test him out. Let's see what this guy got. Never know when you're going to need him. And you go through the quarterbacks. I mean, you know, the Hasselbacks, the Brunels, you know, Ron Wolf brought them all in.
And like you said, David, you only have to be lucky or right or whatever the case may be one time.
Even if it's the last pick of the draft.
Unreal. But I hope he's the answer. You know, he had, 9, 10 starts? I mean, they got a book on him now. Apparently, they've been sharing the information around the league that he's a very different quarterback when you force him to go one way versus the other. Certain areas he doesn't throw accurately to, which is, you know, the sidelines, unless he's rolling out in the pocket. So, you know, I'll be very curious year 2 Brock Purdy, especially if he's trying to get by without his fastball.
And what does Geno Smith and the Seahawks have to say? As you've pointed out, the 2 rookie tackles last year, another year of experience. They've got great wide receivers. They've got a good running back. Added some key pieces to that defense. Don't count out Seattle in that division where the Niners are the clear favorite right now. But I know Pat Kerwin kind of alluded a couple weeks ago on our show that he might be taking Seattle in that division.
3 1s and a 3 to move up from 12 to 3. Remember who was available at 12. They could have hung tight. Fields would have been available. I think Micah Parsons might have even been available. I mean, they both got really close to there. Unreal. Unbelievable. Chris Landry to talk all things college and pro football next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I said to Chris, we would ask him a couple questions about. Chris said he didn't get the link.
I sent it to Chris Landry football. I'll send it again right now. Sent it at 5 o'clock this morning, but I'll send it right now. Just give me 1 second to make sure I got the right email, but it's the same one he's always had. Chris Landry football, gmail.com. Was sent at 5 o'clock this morning. Sending again right now, David. Come on. Chris Landry football at gmail.com, right?
Yep.
Have him check his junk.
He did.
I mean, I've sent it to him on this one before. I just sent it again. I sent it the same. I mean, it's on the same email that I sent you. You should see. I mean, you should both see it on your email that it was sent.
So did you send it at the same time you sent it to me, like 5:40?
On the same email. It's. I mean, I sent it to you. I sent it to both your emails, to Felipe and to Chris this morning, and then I just sent it to him individually again.
You need a phone number?
Yeah, just send me a phone number
Hang
just in
on.
case.
Text it to him.
Okay.
Did he didn't get that one either, I take it?
I'm guessing.
15 seconds. There we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Just like that, it's our third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas. Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry of Landry Football scheduled to join us coming up shortly. By the way, just to, kind of throw this out there. I mean, beginning this week is when we're going to, on Tuesdays, we're going to have David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, and we're also going to have a college football guest, at least one, that deals with either the Gators, the Noles, the Canes, or UCF South Florida. On Wednesdays, we're going to have Pro Football Network, Seth Everett, Bud Elliott. On Thursdays, we're going to have College Football Network, Roy Cummings, Dr. Roto, and every other Thursday, we're going to have South Florida head coach Alex Golish. And then on Fridays, we're going to have Lee Sterling, Pat Kerwin, and our picks. Never mind if anything else happens with the, jam in baseball, NASCAR, basketball, hockey, what have you. So beginning this week, that's our fall. What do you say? Including Chris Landry on Mondays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, which is where he joins us. The Pride of Louisiana, LandryFootball.com. Follow him on Twitter or X at Landry Football. Chris, it's David and Mark. It's been a while. How the heck are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Good to hear your voices. And I know it's football season for sure.
Well, there's no doubt. And obviously, when you start preparing, when you start getting ready for a season, particularly with the NFL, what are you going on? Because preseason's vanilla defenses. How much data are you able to get leading into the start of the season, Chris?
No data. It's just, really looking at the person. I focus a lot on the young guys. It's really more in the preseason. Preseason's really a lot more important than people know because it's about roster, evaluation and making the right decisions there. And what you're looking for are traits and guys that are picking things up. And you don't really look at the result. You study the process. So it's, to me, it's about maybe how certain guys might be able to have an impact, at least physically. And then, how they're able to kind of adjust to what they're being taught, because a lot's being thrown at them. I think you can get some sort of an indicator at times that, hey, maybe certain guys will have more impacts than others as young guys, but then sometimes it doesn't pan out. So I mainly look at the roster, and you have to look at past experiences with coaches. A lot of coaching changes leaves a lot of ambiguity out there about how teams might be, but mostly just roster assessment at this point. And then I think it takes about 4 weeks to get somewhat of a feel for how these teams are at least headed.
Chris, go back 2 years. What was your evaluation of Trey Lance? Where did you have him slotted as a draft pick?
Well, I thought he was, a project in terms of, as a pro prospect, and he is. The guy has ability. I think a lot of times guys jump on players because they may have certain traits of a guy that's been successful, and they don't really go through the whole process. So basically, a lot of people in the league thought Josh Allen, that's the next guy, and even the North Dakota, Wyoming. And I think it's a little bit too simplistic. Now, I'll say this, that in Buffalo, I thought that they did a really good job with Josh Allen, and Josh is still developing in his own right. But I think with the Lance, it's a very complex system that they're running. So that's why guys that maybe have been, and I know Brock Purdy's a younger guy, but guys that have had some experience in understanding that, it's a little bit easier for them than maybe a guy that has more talent that is just struggling to pick things up. I still think the guy has ability, and I'm glad he's going to get another start. I don't know if it's going to work out in Dallas or not. We'll see. But, yeah, I think a lot of people, certainly what they paid for him, it was I swallowed hard when they made that move. But you always do when you give up that much to take a guy that is definitely as big of a project as he is.
Well, and Chris, I hate to pin you down, but I got to pin you down. Where did you have him on your draft board when you, because you advise NFL teams, and I'm curious, did you, like the Cowboys after acquiring him said we had him rated at the top of the second round?
Yeah, I had a 6.0 grade, which is a mid-second rounder. But let me just say this: I had a high second round grade on Patrick Mahomes too. So I think the difference is we know. Mahomes is better, yes, but he's also in a better situation. So I don't buy into hype, and I put the film grades a guy, and the player grades himself. And so to me, here's the thing that concerned me most about him. He didn't play. I mean, remember that was COVID year. They played like 2 games. I mean, so he just didn't have a lot of football to go off of. And that's why I couldn't take him any higher than a 6.0 grade, which is a mid-second round value to me.
Well, let's talk about a guy that's on the upper end of the echelon from a quarterback standpoint. Where do you think Trevor Lawrence can go this year, given the fact that now Urban's long gone, that mess is behind us, and at Jacksonville really got it going the second half of last season? How much more can he develop as already what looks to be a really good quarterback?
I think the development is progressing very well with him. I thought the latter part of last year, you could put him in that group, maybe not at the top of the elite guys in the AFC, which there are a bunch, but he's in that conversation. He's in that group, and I think he could inch his way up. I think the physical skills are there, but I think he's really starting to become comfortable with how to call a game, how to see a game. And I think they've done a good job, around him. I think that team is getting better. I think defensively, I think that, and this is why I think with Lance, to go back to that, it's a concern because that's a good team he was on. I think a lot of quarterbacks are just not surrounded or developed well because the team around them is not all that good, and they expect them to. No, they end up playing hero ball, and it doesn't work. I think with Trevor, you had some of that early. I think there was a lot of confusion you alluded to with Urban. I think things have settled. I think they've got a pretty good roster. I think they've got the best roster in that division. I know it's not a tough division, but I think he can take it kind of where you're talking about him with the Herberts and the Allens and the Mahomes and the Burrows. I think he's ready to take that jump. We'll see if he can, how far he can climb up in that jump.
He is a paid scout and consultant to many college programs and NFL teams. He is Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com. He does many a Landry Football podcast. If you are into football, you need to make Chris Landry part of your life. Follow him on X at Landry Football. By the way, what'd you see from Sam Hartman in Notre Dame this weekend? Did you see anything that you think takes Notre Dame from a top 15 team to maybe close to the playoff?
Well, first of all, for Sam, what impressed the heck out of me is you got to understand this guy ran out of the shotgun and ran a completely different offense. And I know he got there in January, but to basically you run a completely different system and not just run it, but and the coaches told me this in the spring. He's like the leader. I mean, he's voted the leader, and I was really impressed. It's not about how many touchdowns or pass completions against Navy. It's that how seamless he was doing it. Very impressive. All you can do is take care of business, and they took care of business. I mean, he dominated the game, and that's all you can do against that type of an opponent. So I think that, he's helped himself, and let's see if he can continue to progress, as a pro prospect, one, but I think he could be a difference maker for Notre Dame. I think, maybe there's less of the stumble against like Marshall last year. Marshall's a good team, and they didn't play well, and they got beat. I think that they can be a more stabilized offense, and I think they can be pretty good. And maybe they can at least stay in the playoff hunt. I don't know if they're good enough to make it, but I think they're good enough to be in that conversation at least for the bulk of the season.
Chris, when you look, you're talking about bad quarterback or quarterbacks get put on bad teams. There's been so much made of offensive line play. As you look at the teams, we talk about the Dolphins a lot and their offensive line and just how bad it is. How much of trouble do you see Tua being in because of that offensive line? And do you see him having to play some hero ball, or do you think the system works well enough that he can avoid that and they'll be able to rush the ball enough because they do run block better than they pass block?
Yeah, it concerns me, and it would concern me. The Dolphins, we know they're in a tough division, and I think they've got a potentially explosive offense, but and that's a combination with Tua. Can he stay healthy? Now, big problem in his pass. Behind an offensive line, which, you can be effective running play action, but what if you get into games where you've got to be pass first and you've got to play catch up? That's where I think that's where the biggest concern I would have. How can they hold up? I mean, it's a problem in New York with the Jets as well. And so I think when you're looking at both of those teams, you say, how will their offensive line play? Now, Tua's good. Tua's not Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers can maybe find a way to mitigate some of those problems on the offensive line. Or in the past, he's done some of that. But I think that is the biggest concern I have, and probably the area of most concern, not only for those two teams, but maybe on how their season may go, because I think that is definitely the weak spot.
Chris, we got 30 seconds. How well do you think the Gators compete Thursday night in Utah?
I think they'll compete, and with the uncertainty of Cam Rising for Utah, look, let me say this, and I think we saw that last year, and I said this last year. You're going to catch Utah, you need to catch them at the beginning of the year. Florida doesn't beat Utah if that game is in early November. So their chances are better week 1 than week 5, week 8. I don't know if that's good enough to win in Rice-Eccles, to be honest with you, but I think their chances are better than it would be once you get into the season, which I thought Utah was clearly a better team most of last year.
Veteran scout and consultant for college and NFL teams. He is Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Follow him on X at Landry Football. We'll be talking with Chris every Monday at 8 o'clock. Chris, thanks. Be well. Talk to you after the holiday. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Pete Thamel just sent out a series of tweets, David. After a weekend of conversations, there's continued momentum towards the ACC adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU. ACC officials are working on gathering the president's chancellors on a call, which is expected to take place at some point early this week. So, sources caution that nothing is finalized and the details are only in pencil as of now. Expect a decision either way this week. Officials are still working specifically on how to divide the pool of money that would be split up among the ACC members after the three schools join.
So dumb.
Well, we can come back with that.
That's what I figured. Now, I very rarely want the Cowboys to win anything, but I will say Dallas winning a Super Bowl in 2 years with Trey Lance would be really funny.
Felipe, did you send Chris? Chris just said he got a test email from Felipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking on the phone. He gave him a different email address, Chris
Okay,
did.
now I'm going to try sending one to his Gmail.
Well, but that's really not the point. I mean, it really needs to be me doing it from this.
Yeah. Mark, can you try?
Yeah. Oh, probably need 2 L's in football. Felipe, just look up for a second. It's Chris at, right?
Chris,
.com.
Chris.
I'm not giving everybody his email address. It's Chris at. Right?
My bad. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry.
I texted to you.
I just sent a text, or I just sent him one to test too. Just see if he got that. Will you, David? I was going to call him after the show, but. You know what I hate? Flavored coffee.
Why?
Because it's terrible. I drink black coffee. I went to my mom's. We went out Saturday night, and my daughter spent the night at my mom's house. So she made breakfast Sunday morning. We went over, had breakfast at my mom's. She wanted coffee. Pours me a cup of coffee, and I taste it, and it says hazelnut something.
All that I'm with you, but like no cream, no sugar.
Oh God, no. Only thing I'll put cream and sugar in is a Cuban coffee.
Sugar and milk for me.
Well, I mean, milk and sugar if I do a Cuban.
Yeah.
And sometimes just sugar.
I'm going to make myself a Cuban coffee or café con leche when I get home.
Do you have the little small espresso maker?
I don't. What I do is I put Cuban coffee powder in a reusable K-cup.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, at the very least, expected on the show tomorrow. Felt good to ask Chris Landry, Mark, just about the Gators-Utah game because it's Thursday.
Saturday mornings forever now. My daughter has been having soccer practice. And even when the season ended, this thing morphed into a little travel team, and it is a great bunch of kids, and it's a great bunch of parents, which makes everything work out a lot better. But now that soccer season started, this Saturday morning practice, which is kind of a voluntary extra practice. And the coach has been great, gives his time up. Showed up Saturday morning. I had my Michigan State shirt on. I looked over. My buddy showed up, Ryan. He's got his Florida Gators shirt on. Everybody was ready Saturday morning. It was week 0, and it was like, it's all we talked about. Every dad there was talking college football for the entire, we didn't watch any part of the soccer. It was just so good to have games and to talk about games and games that are going to happen. We were just ecstatic. Just ecstatic. Some news coming out on X. I love that you're referring to it now as X, David. Hated Twitter. But Pete Thamel, who's been big on this ACC expansion, tweeted out in the last 10 minutes that after a weekend of conversation, there is continued momentum towards the ACC adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU. ACC officials are working on gathering the presidents and chancellors on a call, which is expected to take place at some point early this week. Sources caution that nothing is finalized and the details are only in pencil as of now. Expect a decision either way this week. Officials are still working specifically on how to divide the pool of money that would be split up among the ACC members after the 3 schools join. That amount is expected to be between $50 and $60 million annually. Some of that will be distributed to all members, and the rest would be put into a pool for success initiatives. So the ACC still talking expansion of Stanford, Cal, and SMU. And it looks as if it will get done this week one way or another.
And so for football, they'd have 17 schools. And then for all the other sports, they'd have 18 because Notre Dame is in the conference for all the other sports. Is that how that work?
Nothing is said on that, but I would assume so. And I know that's a tough thing to do. We all know the rules there.
Let me ask you this. Do you, if you're the ACC, then extend the invitation to UConn for football only? To just have 18 schools? And also you have somebody for Boston College and Syracuse and Pitt geographically?
I don't know why you'd have. I mean, I know. Why is the even number such a big deal to you? We have bye weeks all throughout college sports now. Why? Because you've been hell-bent on an even number. I've not. I don't see the need for that.
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of, I would think it would be easier to have balanced scheduling if you had even numbers versus odd. You know, it's difficult to schedule a non-conference game later in the season. I don't know. Maybe it would make no difference at all, the difference between scheduling 17 or scheduling 18. But Mark, the other thing that I keep harping on, I really believe we're going to end up back in division play. If you have conferences that are this big, this isn't the Premier League or Champions League or whatever it is where they list them top to bottom and the top four are this and the bottom two get relegated. I just also, we can't have conferences that are 16, 18, 20 plus teams and have a schedule that's remotely balanced.
No, that part, that's easy. I mean, we're going to pick two teams randomly who may have played each other, may not have played each other. It's going to be nuts.
Mark, it's not that you and I haven't played each other. It's that you ended up playing, say, the top four teams in the conference, not named me, and I didn't play any of them. So, of course, I have a gaudy conference record, and I'm in the conference championship game. Hell, I didn't play anybody. Now, I know in division play, we've had divisions that one has been far tougher than the other. Hell, the SEC got out of whack for a long time.
Each way in the last 20 years.
Right. You know, the Big 12 was out of whack forever, where the South was always so much stronger than the North.
The Big Ten's always been screwed up because the West has never won a title.
And has never been in the same area code, really, of toughness as the East. And I have no idea which was legends and which was leaders. So I'm sorry. But I just think we felt, I hate to use this word because life is not fair and sports is not always fair. But in sports, quite frankly, we try a lot harder for fairness than we do in life. And I just don't know how we're going to have these huge conferences without cutting them in half, if not quarters. I really don't know how we're going to do it.
Well, I do think, David, one, they can always revisit the division side of this. I mean, they can look at this after a couple of years and think it's not working. And once ESPN and Fox tell them that it's not working, being all in one and you have to go to divisions, we'll have divisions in an hour and a half. Let them get some bad title games. Let Louisville this year have a miraculous season that they don't play Clemson or Florida State and somehow find their way into the ACC championship game against a Clemson or a Florida State. When those things start happening, I do think the networks will demand change, David.
In fact, when we had Mark Packer on late last week, did he say not only does Louisville not play Florida State and Clemson, did he also say they don't play North Carolina?
That's correct.
Damn. I mean, they are at Miami and at Pitt and at NC State, which are challenging games. I'll say that. But, I mean, if you're going over-under, the top three over-under teams in the ACC, Louisville doesn't play. Listen, I could be incredibly wrong here, and about everything, about scheduling, about fairness. And Mark, to be honest, the networks will only care if they get marquee teams in the championship game. So they'll only pick up the phone and call the conference commissioner if they are getting the Louisvilles of the world and going, yeah, we paid for Clemson, Florida State round 2. What the hell?
And David, I've never heard this. I've never read it. I've never seen it. So this is me just thinking out loud. What if in this whole ACC deal, because how many games does Notre Dame play in conference right now? 5, right? In football?
Yes, correct.
What if Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has been the key to try to getting Stanford and Cal into the ACC. What if Notre Dame, and I'm not saying join the conference, but from your scheduling standpoint, simply says we'll do 6 instead of 5 now. But one of them's got to be a permanent, and it's Stanford.
Well,
I wonder if that would ease your scheduling problems at all.
Well, and goodness knows if I'm the ACC, I'm like, wait, so you're going to play more ACC games? Fantastic.
Right.
Sure. I'm all in. All in. And ESPN would be in because every other year, in theory, that's their game. And they have trouble getting their hands on Notre Dame right now. So, yeah.
And that's just me just thinking out loud. So there's nothing out there that says they're going to play an extra ACC game. But I'm just wondering if, to ease your scheduling problems, if that might help it.
By the way, apparently Michigan and Notre Dame are talking about playing again in 10 years.
That'll be great when we're in the Premier League of college football. They're going to be in the same division.
I was going to say, there's a part of me that's wondering between now and then, is the Big Ten going to say, yes, we must stop scheduling Notre Dame and everything but hockey. And hockey, they're in the conference. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. The vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, yeah, baby. ESPN 2, USA, FIBA World Cup. Let's go.
I'm good. I'd rather watch the big three.
No, you wouldn't. Remember, this is FIBA rules, so the players play tougher because the refs call less. Whatever. France was eliminated.
You could have kept him off. He's talking FIBA.
ESPN 2. Come on now. United States.
Yeah, he emailed me back. So, yeah, we're good.
All right.
I got dumb stuff here. I don't know if you got anything.
Not really, no. I was just going to recap for the first part of it.
That works. Interference for me. I was going through trying to delete some text. I've got about 4 years of text on my phone.
Okay.
Probably you and I need to have a talk one day and go through it, because there's probably, whenever you're in need of guests, there's a lot of that are on that list.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Final segment of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 at the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, is when all 32 NFL teams have to get down to their 53-man roster. There have already been some cuts. There's been a few trades. Dolphins announced a deal yesterday with defensive lineman Zach Seiler, indicating, however, they don't think they'll be able to come to a deal with defensive lineman Christopher Wilkins. He, the better, more expensive player of the two. For what that's worth, Wilkins a free agent at the end of this year. Obviously, the Dolphins could tag him. That'll be pricey. And the Dolphins already have cap issues next year without Wilkins. Never mind with him, especially if they have to tag him. Ryan Jensen announced over the weekend out for the year. His career now in doubt. Longtime Bucs starting center, 32-year-old. So they're going to have to go with Hainsey there. Back again at center. Listen, preseason, take it for what it's worth. Baker 6 for 6, right down the field. Second drive, touchdown. Missed one pass in the 3 preseason games, although he didn't play in the second one. So in his 2 preseason games, he went 14 for 15. We'll see. Week 1 at Minnesota. Probably have to get off to a good start.
On the board.
Is it really?
Second biggest number on the board from what I could see.
Are we just under a touchdown, or are we in an extra point? Are we at like 6.5?
No, I had it at 7.5.
Oh, wow.
It's gone up, David, because you are right, it was 6.5. And you had mentioned earlier in the show, we were just talking that everybody in their survivor pools is going to be taking the Ravens. They're a 10-point favorite over Houston in week 1. And then after that, I'm sorry, it is 6.5. There's one 7-point game, that's 6.5. My mistake. I apologize. The Commanders are a 7-point favorite at home against Arizona.
The people, for what it's worth, who are covering the Arizona Cardinals are saying, listen, I know you don't think they're going to be very good. We don't think they're going to be very good. But these guys are completely buying what this new coach is selling. He goes, I've heard 3 different interviews with people who cover the Arizona Cardinals who have all said the atmosphere around here, totally different. That Kingsbury let it get way too lax. He goes, this is a much more tightly wound professional environment than what it's been. Now, we all think Arizona's tanking, but right now the people covering the team are like, hey, they haven't started losing games yet, so they're buying what this guy's selling. We'll see. We shall see. Hovland wins the Tour Championship by 5. He wins $18 million. And
but the most important thing was getting that name on the trophy, not the $18 million. If you watch the broadcast, really that FedEx Cup trophy is what it's all about. It's what players play for. It's really the reason they play golf. Not the money, the FedEx Cup trophy.
The U.S. going to be clearly favored in the Ryder Cup, even though they haven't won it on the road in 30 years. Zach Johnson announces his 6 captain's picks tomorrow. We'll say this, though. Europe's big 3, Rahm, Rory, Hovland, that'll play. That will play. I mean, in theory, you spread them out, right? In terms of team golf. I mean, Europe said no problem in the past, by the way, playing multiple guys 5 matches. They ride their horses over in Europe.
We always have.
Right. We are like, I got to give a guy off and don't want to wear him down.
Europe, or the other side is, I think they want to play him. I mean, the American side's always been, we've got to play everybody. It's a team. And the Europeans are like, yeah, you'll play on Sunday.
Right.
And be thankful that I'm allowing you to play in the singles when everyone plays.
So, man, in theory, that's the lead dog in 3 of the 4 pairings. And then, of course, obviously we get to Sunday. But it'll be very interesting to see who Zach Johnson picks tomorrow. For those that care, the Solheim Cup, Stacey Lewis makes her 3 picks later on today. This is just quick sidebar. There's a fascinating dynamic. Lexi Thompson, for years now, one of the best players. Her world golf ranking mark is like right around 20th. She's apparently like 150th on tour this year, though. Like, she's not going to qualify for the season-ending tournament in Naples. All right. But by World Golf ranking, she qualified for the Solheim Cup team. She's had a disastrous year. Mark, she's probably going to have to use every golfer gets the career earnings. If you've won enough money, you get to raise your hand and go, I get to keep my card next year because of lifetime earnings. She's going to likely have to use that next year to be on the LPGA Tour, yet is technically the 21st ranked player in the world and is going to be on the Solheim Cup team. I mean, this is the equivalent of Ricky Fowler last year being on the Ryder Cup team. It's, I know nobody cares, but it is kind of interesting. So you got that going for you, which is nice. 5 weeks left in the Major League Baseball season. Rays are 2 back. Marlins, just a game above 500. Felipe, since we have a season-long bet on the line, you said the Marlins would finish, did he say above 500?
Above 500,
Okay.
correct.
So technically today you're winning the bet. They are a game above 500. So that bet's out there. We've already got that one. Felipe, consider us like tied heading to the back 9, and Miller and Moulton want to press. Would you like to, from this point forward, bet whether or not the Marlins are going to finish 5? That first bet will always stand. You have a chance to double it, or
basically double or nothing right now.
Right.
I mean, you could lose both bets or win both bets. Would you make that same bet right now? If the bet were the Marlins are going to finish above 500, are you going to take that bet?
Yes.
Look at you.
Going
Proud
down
of
with
you.
the ship. Going down with the ship. That a boy.
That's the way to do it there, big fella.
I made a bet and I'm sticking with it. Come on now.
No. But nothing. Sticking with it is one thing. Doubling down on it where you're at right now that takes some cojones.
We talked about it.
Close games. It's terrible.
Yeah, David Robertson, it's a shame. Kim Ang made the right deal. He just hasn't delivered. This happened in 2016. The Marlins were contending, and David Sampson went out and got Fernando Rodney, who hadn't blown a save all year. Comes to the Marlins and blows 3 right away. And David Robertson had pitched for a year and a half with the Mets. He was tremendous. He pitched really well the year before that. And David Robertson had, in 40 appearances, had an ERA of 2. He comes to the Marlins, and in 7 appearances, has an ERA of 7.
Don't even get me started about AJ Puck,
who right now, though, might be the key setup guy, who was the closer until he blew it. Now Robertson's blown a bunch of saves. They had to go with somebody else. But by the way, Rays and Marlins, a little 2-gamer in Miami tomorrow and Wednesday. Marlins just trying to get to September. We said their August schedule is brutal. Well, they got a bunch of Dodgers, Marlins, Brewers, Braves in the heart of September. I don't know how easy that looks either. They do end with a bunch against the Mets and the Pirates, so final week could go well.
And the Rays, will see now if what happened in Baltimore will give the Rays what they need to try to win that division. Batista going on the IL with a UCL injury over the weekend. Their top closer is done for the year, more than likely. And if he has to have Tommy John, done for next year as well. They called up another hot prospect. I mean, it is the amazing thing. The Orioles, one closer goes down, they've got the next one up in AAA and see if he can get it done. This year, it's all been working that way for Baltimore.
By the way, how quickly can things change in the final 5 weeks of the season? At the beginning of August, the Mariners were in 4th place, 7.5 games out of first. They're in first place by a game over Texas and Houston. Dodgers have gone 21-4 in August. And that's how quickly it can change with 5 weeks left. Basically, Mark, Seattle has done what we were always expecting San Diego to do, right?
Well, and Seattle's done what a lot of people thought Seattle was supposed to do this year. They were supposed to be this good. And they hung around 500 for the first few months of the season and now seemingly found themselves in August.
And the Padres were 2-3 games under 500 on August 1st. And we're like, okay, they're set up. And it has not happened at all.
It is amazing that, and we know why, because if the Yankees do anything, we talk about it. But the Yankees aren't even close to the biggest disappointment in baseball this year. You would think it's the most colossal failure of any team, but it's the Mets and the Padres that are fighting for the honor of biggest disappointments in baseball this year, not the Yankees.
Although the Yankees will medal.
But aren't they clearly the bronze?
Well, clearly the Mets are number one. They spent the highest payroll, and of the three teams you mentioned, they have the worst record. And I think right now the Mets have the 8th worst record in Major League Baseball, and I think they have the 4th worst record in the National League.
They are in last place now. The Nats did pass them.
Correct. So the Mets are the clearly number one. The Padres have a worse record than the Yankees. The Yankees have spent about 20-30 million more than the Padres.
I mean, the Mets are only a game behind the Padres. Their records are virtually identical.
Oh, no, I know. Yankees or Padres, I think that's a very good battle for the silver there. The Mets have won the gold. I mean, that baby's over. Bob Nightingale, by the way, reported in the last hour that the Mets are definitely trading Pete Alonso during the offseason. I will say this. If the owner does that, the honeymoon will be over. The fan base is willing to tolerate this little fiasco because the Mets have been a fiasco more times than not. So the fans are like, well, it was bound to happen. And at least they got a plan. Okay. They trade away the guy who's got 340 home run seasons, who's homegrown and, fans really like him. I have a feeling the fans may be like, seriously, dude? I don't care how much money you have. You're an idiot too.
And Chris Landry joined us earlier this hour, talked about the Gators in Utah, and thought again, timing is everything. Catching Utah week 1 is the prime chance if you're going to pull the upset. Thinks the game might be close.
I will say the line's down to 6.5. The line during the middle of the summer was as high as 10. ESPN's, analytics giving the Gators a 27% chance to win. There is a question at quarterback for Utah. However, and Mark, I am not high on Graham Mertz, the Gators Wisconsin transfer quarterback. Here's another reason why I'm not high on Graham Mertz, even though he has been talked up. Oh, my goodness. Apparently, he's Danny Werfel just waiting to break out based on everything I've been told for the last 4 weeks by the Gator media mouthpieces. But Steve Spurrier, I don't know, seems to be a credible source when it comes to offense and quarterback play, at least in college, right? He came out over the weekend and he said, that third stringer, that walk-on, I tell you what, every time I see him, he just takes the ball. He goes up and down the field and he scores. He goes, I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some of that guy for too long. So how good is Graham Mertz? A walk-on transfer, according to the HBC, he believes is going to see some time pretty much by the Tennessee game. Okay. I don't know. While that's a tremendous endorsement of the walk-on there who just, every time I see him, he looks great. But somehow that seems like an indictment of Graham Mertz. Is it me?
Have they found their Bennett?
Maybe.
Transfer walk-on.
Maybe.
Seemed to work in Athens.
Hell,
I don't like it up there very much.
Hell, tried to get rid of the guy. Buried him. He just kept coming back to life. Hell, now he's even doing good things in Los Angeles. Although, little reality check in the preseason, he was like 4 for 9 with 2 interceptions and 14 yards passing in a 41-0 loss in the preseason. Little reality check.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour. The Diamond District bonus hour is next in the 239.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. The vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Enough, or do you need? Oh, okay. So, gotcha. Okay.
I love David and technology. I really do. He's on the phone over there, left his headsets on, talking on the phone, didn't mute himself. I love it. He's done.
First time I've ever left the phone on.
Turn him down a little bit. He got louder as the show went on, Felipe.
That's the first time I've ever done that. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I thought it was an alarm, not the phone, because I would have never imagined your phone being on.
Yeah. So what's all the little stuff you got? You want to do it here?
Oh, it was just a NFL survey. Let's see if I can pull it back up. It was an NFL thing of drunkest fan bases. Well, it's just how much. It's only a top 5 thing, but there was an article on the drunkest cities, of which Wisconsin has
5 of the top 6.
7 of the top 10. Wow. And Green Bay was the drunkest city in America. So Packer fans win this. They average one more beer a game than the next closest team, which is the Bears. What's up with the track dude dissing the NBA? See that, the guy that won the 200? Basically, world champions.
That guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. Clearly, he's never watched any NBA basketball in his entire life. He said there's no flags in the NBA. He's an idiot. He should turn on ESPN too.
Yeah, we've lost Felipe. He's watching USA and Greece.
I'm very sorry.
It's pathetic.
Even UD was in the comment section like, big fan, bro, but this ain't it. Hashtag sucka shit.
You have got to quit that on the... I'm not going to tell you again.
Sorry.
Okay? It's a big deal because you forget the microphones all the time. It's a big deal. You've got to cure yourself of that. I know I swear more than you. I know I do. I curse like a sailor, but can shut it off from 6 to 10.
We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much to be with us on this final Monday of August. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin will join us on the show tomorrow as we are, well, we're breaking into our regular lineup, if you will. You know how networks do fall programming that begins usually third week of September when there's not a writer's strike? Oh, that's Miller and Moulton. Last week of August, it's like, okay, let's break it out. Let's go.
No one on this show's on strike. None of our writers are on strike.
Actually, Mark, they've been on strike from the very beginning. Took a look at what we could pay them, and they went, you guys are going to have to do this on your own. You're good.
All right, well, the writers may be on strike, but our guests, fortunately, are not, and they are going to be with us all football season long. Great lineup, again, for you on the Florida Sports Network. Welcome to the Diamond District Bonus Hour, brought to you by Todd and Jason at the Diamond District, where if you stop in, make sure you mention Miller and Moulton. Tell them that we sent you in there no matter what. They're going to give you the best deal, the best service, and, well, they have been longtime friends of the show. We've supported them. We hope you will as well.
And make sure you show up with your boombox. All right. And mention Miller and Moulton because we don't want anybody else getting in trouble. If someone's going to get in trouble, we want it to be us. You know, when they go, what are you doing? And they go, it's our John Cusack moment.
Just drop a lot of coin if you're going to do that. Just a lot of coin. Make it worth our while, please.
Right. For when we lose them as sponsors, we at least want a good story out of it. Todd and Jason at the Diamond District. All right. There was material that you wanted to go with last segment.
Well, just some information that I'd found about the drunkest fans in the National Football League.
Is this a scientific survey? Is it analytics department? What are we using?
Well, a group got feedback from 3,200 football fans, asked a different number of questions about their game day habits, one including how many beers they consume when everything is said and done.
Now, are these people going to the games, or is it just
Football fans.
Gotcha.
But give it up to the Green Bay Packers, because there was another list that came out in July of the drunkest cities in America. And Green Bay won that one as well.
Wow, number one?
Number one. In fact, 7 of the top 10 drunkest cities in America are all in Wisconsin. Not one in Florida, which shocked the hell out of me.
Well, get hit with another hurricane or two, we could change that.
Don't take that poll this week. That's for damn sure.
Don't take it on Wednesday, Thursday.
But, David, 2 North Dakota towns made that top 10 list of drunkest cities.
Ooh.
Fargo, number 5, and Grand Forks, number 8.
Interesting. Usually Grand Forks, there's more people in Fargo, but usually I found Grand Forks to be more drunk than Fargo. Interesting.
Missoula, Montana was the only city not from North Dakota or Wisconsin cracking the top 10 drunkest cities list.
Wait a minute. Nationally? You mean to tell you that they're getting hammered? So that's Vikings and Packers fans.
Yes.
Maybe a few Bears fans in the southern part of Wisconsin.
But when it comes to the football fan, that was the drunkest cities. When it comes to the football fan, the Packer fan averages 6.2 beers a game day.
Wow, 6 beers every game. Huh.
Seems pretty easy to me, but I consider myself a veteran in this.
The
Bears are the next. The Bears are the next highest. They are a full beer behind the Packer fan.
Well, Bears fans aren't. By the way, they open against one another. And they open with Jordan Love against Justin Fields. I have a feeling the drinking is going to be a lot higher.
Raiders fans are 3rd. Vikings fans are 4th. And Eagles fans are 5th.
Man. Eagles fans are 5th. What do you guys have reason to drink so much about? You guys have been good for 20 years. Huh.
But they didn't have, I was disappointed they didn't have the bottom of the list, but those are the top 5. But the Green Bay, I think I've got to get to Green Bay. I mean, that's what I've concluded. If it's the drunkest city in America and their fans drink the most on game day, I got to figure out a way to get to Green Bay.
I have to admit, I am challenging the survey results. I am the president of the Bills Mafia, and I am challenging the results of this election. This just doesn't seem right to me.
I'm with you that the Bills don't crack the top 5.
It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. How we're not medalists, honestly, I don't understand. We jump off of things and break tables. Do you think we do this sober? Now, don't get me wrong. We would, but we choose not to, okay? Have you ever walked through the parking lot in Orchard Park? I have, many a time. Trust me, they're challenging Packers and Bears fans.
There's no doubt.
So, I don't know. You know how sometimes they come up with, I don't know, was it Fox and Cowherd came up with the list the other day? They were talking about best quarterback wide receiver combinations. And, it was a really good list. But Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown / Devontae Smith weren't on it. It's like, hold on a second. You have a top 10 list of quarterback wide receiver combos, and you don't have that one on your top, wait for it, 10 list? Really? I think we need to redo the list. 9 of these 10 I can agree with in whatever order you want, but somebody's got to go. It's kind of how I feel about the cities and fan bases, Mark. I'm sorry. We got to make room for the Bills.
I think you're right. Although I can't really take away anybody that's on that. I mean, that list is with the exception of the Eagles fan because they're angry all the time. I just assume that they're drunk.
Is it possible, which is what is being pointed out in our Twitch chat room, that since they're jumping off of RVs and breaking tables, that they're drinking hard stuff and not beer?
Could be. Could be. I do know, but again, in Wisconsin, they're just chasing that beer with the shot. It's the cold weather place. You need that little nip every once in a while just to keep you warm. A little whiskey, a little hard stuff there just to keep everything cool, keep everything warmed up when you're cooled off.
Yeah, but Mark, you got to remember, they don't think it's that cold. That's the funny. It's 4, and then they're walking around. They got their jackets open at 4. They're like, well, this ain't too bad. All right, it's kind of a nice day. We should be able to throw the ball around. It's not that windy. It's about a 2-club wind, and it's kind of balmy out. I don't think the Chargers have any idea what they're up against today. Don't know where that voice came from either. But it started out kind of Wisconsin-y, and then
it went to Little North Dakota, and it morphed into the 2 somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So
we got the point.
I did mention, though, what is actually my favorite week 1 game of the NFL season, which I know we have to wait 10 days for. If Lions Chiefs is what gets it going for you, but 13 days for most, and it's 2 weeks today, Jets and the Bills. And I know, Mark, there are many games that are much more marquee than this. I mean, the Dolphins Chargers is a hell of a game.
Yes, it is.
2 playoff teams from a year ago. Plus, you got the whole Herbert Tua, they're always going to be linked factor. And Miami starting with 2 road games. I mean, the Jets and the Bills, Monday night, September 11th, across the Hudson from you-know-what on September 11th. I mean, wow. The Sunday night game. I mean, we're all sick of seeing the Giants and the Cowboys in prime time, but it is 2 playoff teams, 2 division rivals.
I got to tell you, I'm in the club of I am sick of this game being week 1. I am sick and tired of this game. This game. I know you're a Giants fan, and you don't act this way, but for whatever reason, this New York Dallas thing apparently to the national media is the biggest game in the world. Enough already.
Well,
enough.
A, anything in Dallas is the biggest thing in the world, and then B, if the New York team has a pulse, well, it's a dunk. I mean, what's also interesting is that I don't think the Giants have beaten Dallas since Eli was there. I don't know if they've beaten the Eagles either since Eli. But anyway, actually, they did beat the Cowboys once. I think Joe Judge's first year. They beat them final game of the year. They were both 6-win teams. It was pathetic. But anyway. But do you know my favorite week 1 game? Packers-Bears. I mean, besides the fact that it's the Packers and the Bears, and they hate each other. That's each biggest rival. Sorry, Vikings. It just is. Your biggest rival may be the Packers, but their biggest rival is each other. Aaron Rodgers owned Chicago. Remember, officially owned them.
Right.
Even Bears fans acknowledged, okay, he's our daddy. He just owns us. Even last year when they were below 500, what did he and they do? Beat the Bears twice. Well, obviously, you got the quarterback factor. And what if Jordan Love goes into Chicago, his second career start week 1, and treats and beats the Bears just like it was Rodgers and Favre? Where's the Bears fans on that drinking list? Because I'm telling you right now, when the game's over, they will be number 1.
They're second behind the Packers.
Okay. If they lose that game, they will, without question, consume more beers than any fan base week 1 in the NFL. And I don't know if Justin Fields realizes how big a game that is for him at home. That Bears fan's going to be like, listen, it's not your fault. You haven't even been alive but for 30 years we've had to deal with, Favre and Rodgers. It's just, you have to win, okay? You have to beat them.
You're on to something there.
And that's why it's
not just Fields, but the coach and
right.
Everything.
Right. Because like a Bears fan on Twitch chat room just said, Jordan Love cannot be good. That's the other thing that Bears fans like, oh no, come on. Really? We can't find one.
You know, and I had the whole week 1 schedule. I didn't know where you were going. I figured you were going Bears and Packers, and I just started looking at the fact that how is Seattle only a 4.5-point favorite against the Rams?
You know, that's a dadgum good point.
That's the thing I took out of the week 1 schedule. I'm looking at the lines going, how is this 4.5? The Rams are going to be awful this year. Awful.
That's a dadgum good point. There's a story out today, and I know we got a break, but there's a story out today that Matthew Stafford's teammates are so young, he says he has nothing in common with them. Matthew Stafford, he's 35. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So I'm reading the Post yesterday, and they got a college football article about, picks. And I see a Michigan State pitcher in the caption. I'm like, uh-oh. They're all over Central Michigan against Sparty week 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all over. They're getting 14.5. They see it as a 6-point game. I may watch that Welcome to Wrexham or whatever that Ryan Reynolds and what's his face that bought the team. They're doing a reality show on that. I may watch some of that.
By the way, how about Brady? Out in Vegas at the Raiders game.
Talking
or was no, actually he was in Dallas, right? It was the Raiders Cowboys in Dallas, right?
Yeah. But he was at the game.
Yep.
How is he going to work for Fox again, being an owner of a team? I know you said that first, but I'm watching him on the sidelines going, how do you do that again? Jarrah's going to be okay with that, huh?
There are going to be some organizations that would have major problems dealing with Fox in the production meetings, that they'd basically be like, we're not going to tell you a thing. Not a thing. I'll tell you who's playing. Okay. Also, here's another thing. What if they have a Raiders game? Now, right now, they're bad. But, the Raiders are a draw, though.
Right.
I mean, hell, the highest rated regular season game in the last 5 years was the Thanksgiving game between the Raiders and the Cowboys. I'm just... It's such a different lifestyle, too. I honestly... And this is like taking a year off and never going back to school because you're like, man, do I really want to go back to the grind? Yes, Canada Relief. If Fox had it their way, the Cowboys would be like Notre Dame. They would just broadcast all Cowboys games. Yeah. Ohio State and the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest draws on Saturday and then Sunday. That's just a fact.
I had to laugh. I'm watching Sports Center before game day came on. I just had it. I just bought that YouTube thing, so I'm watching just to make sure I can get it on. Fortinbaugh's on. He's got an awful mustache. Awful.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I think it's a dare that he's growing. But he's doing his college picks, and his first one is explaining in detail why Navy's going to cover against Notre Dame. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at him going, first off, I don't agree with you. But that was his first big pick. That's not how you want to start the year off.
What show is he on?
This was on Sports Center. This was a hit on Sports Center. He's getting the 2 to 4 slot. He's part of their radio program now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is it him or is it him and somebody else?
Him and somebody else, either noon to 2.
No, because, well, could be because it's not like they're running McAfee.
I think he's on noon. He's either noon to 2. I don't know.
10 seconds.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. We talked about it earlier in the show. It was just mentioned in our Twitch chat room once again. I was stunned that Trey Lance got traded to the Cowboys. Stunned. First off, Dak, I mean, he's had what? One major injury? I mean, he's had 2 injuries in his first 7 years, really, where he's missed time. I mean, he's fairly durable as quarterbacks go, number one. Number two, he's got 2 years left on his contract, and Trey Lance has 2 years left on his rookie deal. I mean, Trey, you're not going to play him this year. I mean, hell, he doesn't even know the plays. Cooper Rush is going to be the backup this year, so you just gave up a 4th-round pick for a 3rd-string quarterback. Okay, that's high. But he's got potential. All right. For when? 2024? Dak's cap hit next year is almost $60 million. So you're not playing him in 2024. It's not like this is not the Vikings, whose Cousins' contract is up at the end of this year. You could bring him into Minnesota, work him into your system. He could run the scout team, the whole deal. And then, hell, he could be your guy next year if you want, or at least be the backup. I'm just trying to think, when is Trey Lance ever go? What, they're going to move on from Dak in 2 years and hand it to Trey?
Well, I think they definitely move on from Cooper Rush next year, Dak's, and then Lance is your backup next year.
Okay. I found it interesting, but then again, other teams, Baltimore apparently called, Buffalo called. Now, I'll say this. I don't know if Buffalo's got a good backup quarterback or not. I mean, Trey Lance might be better as the number 2 quarterback in Buffalo a week from tomorrow than what they have. But, Baltimore's, I mean, heck, they got Pro Bowler Huntley there.
Yep.
But, I mean, he's quarterbacked them plenty. They got Josh Johnson even. I don't know. I just, Detroit Now that's an interesting scenario. Who's the backup to Goff?
Oh God.
And so, Detroit called. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we need to better our backup quarterback situation. See, I get it if you think you're looking at Trey as your number 2 quarterback. But the Cowboys, he's only got 2 years left on a deal. Well, the first year, he's your number 3.
And
So-
actually, the Lions make no sense. They've got Bridgewaters, who they just signed, and as someone pointed out in our Twitch chat room, they drafted Hooker. So that really wouldn't have made no sense either.
Right. So were they going to throw Teddy to the side of the road? So I don't know. I found it interesting as to the teams that called and eventually the team that paid the price and got him. Apparently it's down to the Dolphins and the Broncos for Jonathan Taylor, because Taylor has said to the Bears, I know you're interested. I wouldn't sign long-term with you. Oh, okay. Thanks for playing. Now, reports are that Miami still has the best offer on the table. And it's basically up to the Colts as to whether or not they want to accept it or they want to move on.
Which would be laughable and would prove Pat Kerwin being right. But they thought this exercise was going to prove that there was no one interested in Taylor. Sure, go out and look for your trade. You won't find anything that we find. You're going to find the same thing that we found, that no one wants you. Well, that's not the case. There are teams that have wanted him. Now will they pull the trigger on the deal is what remains to be seen for the Colts. If they don't, then they bring him back and play him.
Taylor's in the final year of his rookie deal. Remember, he was a second-round pick, so he only has a 4-year contract. This is year 4. He's 24 this year. And you would think if the Colts don't want to sign him and pay him now, do you really think they're going to want to tag him a year from now? I mean, they may do it for leverage, but do you really think they're going to want to go down that road? Wouldn't they basically be in the same spot? So, once again, could be wrong. I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor's getting traded. If I'm the Colts, while I don't think the running back that I'm going to get back from Miami has a ton of value for me because I'm not thinking about 2024, I'm thinking about 25 and 26 and what have you. But, you could take either Mostert or,
And didn't they just cut Drake?
The Colts did, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
right.
But you wonder if that's anticipating getting this deal done and getting a running back in return from Miami.
And yes, Hops, okay, in our Twitch chat room, he said, hold on a second. You're telling me I have to give up a first-round pick for the guy and I got to pay him? Yes. Now, once again, the leverage when it comes to running backs is on the side of the team. I mean, think about what type of free agent market is Jonathan Taylor going to get? Josh Jacobs just led the league in rushing. He got a deal that pays him 11 base and incentives that can get him to 12. Saquon just had a great year. He got 10 base incentives that can get him to 11. The league has decided McCaffrey at 16, that ain't happening again. Kamara at 15, that ain't happening again. Hell, don't even know if I'm willing to go Derrick Henry at 13 and change again. The league has decided we are lowering the ceiling on running back. So if you're Jonathan Taylor, I mean, how much leverage do you really have?
Put it this way, getting tagged back-to-back years is the best situation for any running back right now because they're never going to get that money anywhere else, ever.
And it would be fully guaranteed.
Correct.
That's the other thing. I mean, apparently what broke down talks between the Giants and Saquon was that the Giants were only willing to guarantee about a year and a half. It's worth of money. 2 years tops. And they looked right at him and said, we don't have to.
Whereas every other position in the league, sorry, David, but every other position in the league, what you did gets you paid. The running back position, what you did makes you a liability. I mean, it is amazing.
Now, Mark, both of us, but me especially, have been waiting years for someone to challenge the NFL rule. Why do I have to wait 3 years to go from high school to the NFL? That's the rule that college football has put in place. You must be 3 years removed from high school until you're eligible for the draft. And while most potential NFL players are not remotely ready for the NFL until they're at least 3 years removed from high school, there are a few that are. I mean, come on now. We've seen guys in the last 10, 12 years. I mean, you didn't think Patrick Peterson after his freshman year could leave LSU? You didn't think Julio Jones, AJ Green? I mean, come on now. How about Marvin Harrison Jr.? Does he really need to be back at Ohio State? Does anybody think that? Have you seen him play? I don't know if there are 10 guys on Sundays right now better than him. And that's what I'm waiting for, Mark, and in theory, it would be a running back because they are like, well, hell, I got to get to the league sooner. This is they're sticking it to us in the league. And now I got to spend 3 years taking tread off my tires in college where they have no problem running me into the ground.
In fact, that's their intention.
Right.
Although I will say, the one thing I noticed, I watched a good chunk of the first half of Notre Dame Navy. The new rules are going to speed the game up.
Yeah, it's going to be less plays.
There are going to be less plays. I mean, the running back got a break on Saturdays by the new rules.
In theory, by the way, the new rules could lead to more upsets. The underdog can shorten the game. Less possessions, less plays.
Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when, and what's on tap. It's how we finish things out during the Diamond District bonus hour right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, Bay News 9 out of Tampa.
Right.
Their is it Idalia?
Yes.
Their Idalia update is the storm is moving north at 7 miles an hour. It has strengthened this morning It will be a hurricane later today. It will be a major hurricane as it approaches Florida, meaning they think it could reach category 3. Their cone has Tampa on the far eastern edge of it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm reading your text and doing this. So,
And they, by the way, have it. It looks like it'll go straight through Gainesville and then Jacksonville. And that Wednesday is showtime. So, all righty. Logic Man, did you see the Schwarber stat? He has as many singles as home runs this year. By the way, if you're the Dolphins, you want to get crazy, do you trade Christian Wilkins for Buckner? While you're calling the Colts, do you just say, well, listen,
did you get a food bill yet from them?
well, it was included.
No, from the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, the hotel charged me $20 a person. Okay. That covered, everything. Covered the location, that covered the food, okay, etc. So I'll throw 200 on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. The final Monday of August. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, at the very least, on the show tomorrow. As of now, we are scheduled to do a show every day this week, even if this storm stays north of Southwest Florida. And boy, let's hope it does. And even though it's many forecasts have it headed really towards Gainesville, the center of it, and right through Jacksonville, the plan is for us to be on the air.
Hell,
Doing
that's
our thing.
always the plan.
It really is.
I mean, every day. It's amazing we get weekends off.
Let's just hope this storm does not, the 239 deserves a break.
And then some.
Yeah.
And then some.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Boy, we'd have lost money on this race, David. 1830 is where we start today. The first American-built locomotive races a horse-drawn car. The horse won. Mechanical problems of the locomotive.
Wow. That is not good.
1918, Tris Speaker is suspended for the season due to an assault on umpire Tom Connolly. There was a lot of umpire assaulting going on last century, in the early part of the last century. It's been tough to be. It's probably why they have the attitude they have now.
A lot of spitting,
right?
A lot of assaulting, yes.
Today in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. delivers his I Have a Dream speech. Today in 1965, the first Subway sandwich shop opens in Bridgeport, Connecticut, serving bad food for everybody around.
Wait, what year?
1965.
They just sold for what, 10?
It's so bad. Unless, of course, they wanted to be a sponsor in which it'll be the greatest sandwich ever made. Today in 1967, WCBS begins its all-news format. But the AM station was knocked off the air just beforehand, so the debut was moved to the FM sister station, 101.1. 1970, I'll Be There by the Jackson 5 was released. It would be the Billboard Song of the Year. In 1972, Olga Colbert becomes the darling of the Munich Games, winning gold in the teams all around. She would follow with 2 more gold and a silver. Today in 1973, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye is released. Today in 1990, Ryan Sandberg is the first second baseman to hit 30 home runs consecutively. Today in 1994, Tiger wins the U.S. Am. That was his first one, right?
That was the first one, yes.
And for Felipe in 2004, Manu Ginobili leads Argentina over Italy for the gold medal. The U.S. team took bronze.
Yeah, that was bad. Really bad.
By the way, that Tiger USM, was that the one at TPC?
Doesn't have the course, so I don't know, David. My apologies. And a year ago, Rory won $18 million and had his name engraved on the FedEx Cup, which means more than anything in golf, if you listen to the broadcast yesterday.
It's okay when the PGA Tour players get paid. It's not okay when the other guys do.
Yep.
By the way,
but it's not the money. It's getting your name on that trophy is what matters, according to Trevor Immelman.
By the way, how many people in that tournament this week?
30.
What was the cut?
There wasn't one.
Oh. Huh.
Wow. Lou Pinella's 80 today. Ron Guidry is 73. Shania Twain is 58. Pierre Turgeon, Jason Priestley, and Jack Black are all 54 today. And Leanne Rimes is 41. I feel like I missed a lot, but I did not have much. What did I miss, David?
You did miss some very noteworthy things. Some of them awful. Emmett Till was murdered today in 1955. The 14-year-old from Chicago who was visiting family in Mississippi. Martin Luther King, 60 years ago today, delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech.
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah, he
Okay.
said that.
Well, that one I missed. Chuck and Di divorced today in 96.
Oh, well. How did I miss that?
It's big. She was dead barely a year later.
Who and who?
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Princess Charles and Lady Di.
Oh, I don't care.
I understand. It was the wedding of the century, if you were around, which most of our audience was. Sorry to disturb you. Then again, I missed, the Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech. So
Gave it right before the Subway thing there.
did it?
Yeah.
See, once I heard Subway, I've forgotten about everything else. It's what happens when you're starving near the end of the show. It's like, wait, you mentioned food?
I was starving at the beginning of the show, so I'm right there with you, David.
All right, that's all I got. Oh, today, I forget the year. I think it was 77. Toby Harrah and Bump Wills hit back-to-back inside the park homers against the Yankees. Harrah's one was to right field. Piniella crashed against the wall, seriously hurt himself, didn't get up, and so he circled the bases. Bump Wills hit it to straightaway center, went off Mickey Rivers' glove, carried away. He was a speedster, and he made his way home. So not only back-to-back inside the park home runs.
Did you see the Dela Cruz throw to negate
it's about to go
the
there.
inside the park home run?
You mean the 99-mile-an-hour fastball to gun the fastest guy on the Diamondbacks at the plate? Yeah. He is worth the price of it.
Yes, he is.
He's 22 years old.
He's amazing all over the field. If I'm the Reds, I do one of those 10-year, $250 million deals this offseason. Absolutely.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Texas via Indonesia, where Rudy and Celeste Dominguez were on vacation with their daughter Valentina, and she left her doll, Beatrice, last seen on a plane in Tokyo where they had a stopover. That gets us to James Dannon, an American Airlines pilot who caught the story about the lost doll on Facebook. He tracked the doll down in the Lost and Found to the Turkish Airlines Lost and Found in Tokyo, located the doll, personally escorted the doll across the globe, snapping photos for Valentina at various airports along the way. He delivered the doll in person to the young girl.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
That's outstanding.
For the bad, we go to Michigan, where the Romulus Police Department said in a Facebook post that a baffled woman called police to report an alligator or a crocodile wandering around her apartment building. This is in Michigan. They didn't buy it, but they showed up anyhow and had to bring a trapper because there was a 4-foot alligator wandering around the apartment complex. No word on how it got there. Finally, the ugly. We go to North Dakota. Fargo, to be specific, David.
No!
Where did you work at? What was the call letters of your station?
I don't think my TV station's still around. I worked at KXJB.
All right, this is at KFGO.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that radio station. Yeah.
Okay.
I worked for that company for a time.
All right. Well,
this KFGO AM, Mark. This is the hot rockin' AM flamethrower that's dominated that market forever. News.
Well,
talk.
former Governor Ed Schaefer was hosting a radio show, News and Views, Friday morning.
Got that right.
When he got a call and asked if he owned a 2020 GMC Yukon. He did. It was stolen while he was doing the show.
I hate when that happens.
David, you'll never guess it, but he left the key fob in the vehicle. And someone just started her up and took off.
I'm actually not surprised.
His wife of 31 years said, "Why don't you lock your car?" And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 28th, 2023.
I got to Fargo in late September, and 2 months later, it was pretty darn cold. And I pulled into the grocery store parking lot, and there were 25 cars all running in the parking lot, and no one was in them. And I'm looking around like, am I having a stroke? There's no one in these cars. These cars are running. There are keys in the ignition. 25 cars. I walked into the store. I said to the man, I go, "What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" No. Yeah, they'll freeze. The locks will freeze. Just no, you run the cars. What do you mean you run the cars? The keys are in the ignition. Yeah, nobody's going to take them. What? Yeah. Yeah, it looked at me like, "You're not from here, are you? You're a weirdo." I'm like, "You're right. I turn my car off and bring my keys with me. I'm nuts." Do you know there's only 2 Major League Baseball teams not playing tonight? Care to
Really?
guess? Care to guess who they are?
Tampa and Florida.
There you go.
Because they start their 2-gamer tomorrow.
There you go. Everybody else is playing. Oh, no, wait, it gets better. FS1, they got the pick of the litter, baby. I mean, everybody but the Rays and the Marlins, right?
Oh, who do the Yankees play?
What game do you want to show tonight? All right. And FS1 has got, wait for it, the Pirates and the Royals.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Houston's in Boston. I mean, just for the heck of it, you could show the Yankees because they're the Yankees, even though they're in Detroit and they're both below 500. Yeah. Well, you want to show the Braves? I mean, best lineup since like the 27 Yankees. They're in Colorado. They ain't going to score any runs, right? Hell, Texas has lost 10 of 11. They're playing the Mets. You want to get a few eyeballs. Put a New York team out there, and the Rangers are in a free fall. How about Ohtani in Philly against the Phillies? No. We got Pittsburgh and Kansas City.
I don't think you could. In fact, I would rather watch FIBA, the World Basketball Tournament, than that game.
Yes, sir.
The Brewers and the Cubs are playing in Chicago tonight, Wrigley Field. Battle of first and second place teams. Battle of 2 playoff teams right now. The
Terrible
3 and 5
backdrop,
seeds.
Wrigley Field. Who'd want to show a game at that place?
Exactly. Brewers have won 8 in a row.
We're just
Unreal.
all trying to get to Thursday, David. That's really all that matters. Just
Pirates.
Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Pirates and Royals. Honestly, if I'm Fox, I'm like, no, we're good. We're not going to televise it. No, you have to. Oh, really? I don't think so. What's a show that they own the rights to? Can't they run a Simpsons?
Anything, David. Really and truly anything. They could put the bars up that you would get at the 2 in the morning when the air would go off and get the same rating that they will for this game.
I think I would sell knives or something instead of running this game. Yeah. Pirates and Royals. I mean, combined, they're only 65 games below 500. Unreal. 4 o'clock tomorrow is the NFL cut down deadline. Tomorrow's when Zach Johnson announces his 6 captain's picks. Stacey Lewis later today will announce her 3 Solheim Cup picks. And we'll see if the ACC finally brings Stanford, Cal, and SMU into the fold, or if this is just the biggest tease of all time.
We talked about it earlier. We'll see. Pete Thamel reporting that there is expected to be a meeting of presidents, a call, and then perhaps a vote. But right now they are close with Cal, Stanford, and SMU.
Which I'm confused. I thought they were 1 vote away last week.
Well, that's close.
I know, but how much closer can you get? They've made progress. What are you talking about? We're a vote away.
Right. They made it with North Carolina or North Carolina State, because we know Florida State and Clemson aren't voting for it.
Are we 0.4 behind now? What did somebody split their votes? What?
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again all over tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here. Where else but the Florida Sports Network? Have a great day.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an